Welcome to our channel. Hollywood Movie Review. A Minecraft Movie 2025 Movie Review. A Minecraft Movie is a 2025 adventure comedy film based on the 2011 video game Minecraft, developed and published by Mojang Studios. Directed by Jared Hess, from a screenplay by Chris Bowman, Hubble Palmer, Neil Widener, Gavin James, and Chris Gauletta. Based on a story by Alison Schroeder, Bowman, and Palmer. The film stars Jason Momoa, who also serves as one of the producers, Jack Black, Emma Myers, Danielle Brooks, Sebastian Hansen, and Jennifer Coolidge. It follows four misfits from the fictional town of Chuglass, Idaho, who are pulled through a portal into a cubic world, and must embark on a quest back to the real world with the help of an expert named Steve. Plans for a Minecraft film adaptation originated in 2014, when game creator Marcus Persson revealed that Mojang Studios was in talks with Warner Bros. To develop the project. Throughout development, the film shifted between several directors, producers, and story drafts. By 2022, Legendary Entertainment became involved, and Hess was hired as director with Momoa in talks to star. Further casting took place from May 2023 to January 2024. Principal photography began later that month in New Zealand and concluded in April 2024. Mark Mothersbaugh composed the score, and Sony Pictures Imageworks, Weta FX, and Digital Domain provided the film's visual effects. A Minecraft movie premiered in London on March 30, 2025, and was released in the United States and Sweden on April 4, by Warner Bros. Pictures. The film received mixed reviews from critics and was a box office success, grossing around $961 million and becoming the fifth highest grossing film of 2025 and the third highest grossing video game film of all time. A sequel, A Minecraft Movie Squared, is scheduled for release on July 23, 2027. Struggling doorknob salesman Steve goes to work in a mine to fulfill a childhood dream, where he discovers the Orb of Dominance and the Earth Crystal. When combined, they create a portal that transports him to the overworld, a world where the terrain is made of easily manipulated cubes. He builds his own city and later stumbles across a portal to a hellish world called the Nether. He is imprisoned by Malgasa, the gold-obsessed piglin ruler of the Nether, who gravely discourages creativity and steals Steve's dog Dennis. Because the orb would allow her to control the overworld, Steve has his dog Dennis escape with the orb and crystal and hide them under his bed in the real world. Sometime later, 1980s video game champion Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison owns a failing video game store in Chuglass, Idaho. He heads to a storage auction to acquire items to sell for cash, ultimately winning the contents of Steve's old house. While searching through the items, particularly hoping to find an Atari Cosmos, he instead finds the empty case and Steve's old belongings. While searching throughout the house, he finds the orb and crystal, to his anger and confusion. Siblings Henry and Natalie move to Chuglass following their mother's death. The two meet Don, their real estate agent, who also runs a mobile petting zoo. On Henry's first day of school, he gets in trouble when his experimental jetpack is sabotaged and damages the potato chip factory's mascot Chuggy. To avoid expulsion from Vice Principal Marlene, he pays Garrett to play his uncle. At Garrett's video game store, Henry discovers the orb and crystal and combines them, leading the two to Steve's mine. Natalie finds out Henry is missing and calls Don, who tracks down Henry's location via Natalie's phone. As the four reunite, they are sucked into the portal and arrive in the overworld. Malgasa learns that the orb has returned and releases Steve from his imprisonment in the Nether to reclaim it, claiming she has Dennis as a hostage. While fighting off monsters at night, Henry learns to manipulate blocks and builds a dirt fortress. The Earth Crystal is destroyed in the commotion. Steve appears at dawn and defeats the monsters as he tells the group that a replacement crystal will be needed from the Woodland Mansion and joins them. To prepare for this quest, he leads them to a nearby village and demonstrates how to craft. Piglins seeking the Orb of Dominance launch an attack on the village. Steve, Garrett and Henry narrowly escape while Natalie and Don are separated from them and befriend Dennis. Malgisa responds by sending out the Great Hog, a massive piglin. When Steve mentions that he has a hoard of diamonds, Garrett becomes interested and demands access as an added condition to handing over the orb. They make a detour and find the hoard, but Henry is angered by their disregard for Natalie's safety. When the Great Hog arrives, they escape using minecarts and the hog is blown up by creepers. Arriving at the mansion, Steve and Garrett attempt to distract the guards while Henry acquires both the Earth Crystal and an Ender Pearl, which can facilitate one's teleportation. Malgisa returns and destroys the bridge to the mansion. Steve and Henry lose the orb to her, but escape as Garrett seemingly sacrifices himself in the blast. The two awaken with Don, Natalie, and Dennis in a mushroom house. Malgisa uses the orb to superpower the Nether portal, blotting out the sun and declaring war on the overworld. The party crafts an arsenal of weaponry and an army of iron golems to fight the Piglin invasion, while Steve fights Malgisa. Henry uses the Ender Pearl to obtain the orb, restoring the sunlight and causing Malgisa and her army to zombify. The party, including Garrett who survived the explosion, returns to Chuglass, where they develop the successful video game Block City Battle Buddies. Dawn opens her zoo with Dennis as an attraction, Natalie opens a dojo, Henry completes his jetpack, and Garrett revitalizes the game store with Steve. Following a series of offers from Hollywood producers to create a Minecraft-related television series and a crowdfunding campaign for a fan film that was shut down by Minecraft creator Marcus Notch Person revealed that Mojang Studios was in talks with Warner Bros. To develop an official Minecraft film in February 2014. Later in October, Mojang CCOVU Bui stated that the movie was early in development, and would be a large-budget production. He also said that the film might not be released until at least 2018. Originally, Roy Lee and Jill Messick were set to produce the project. That same month, Warner Bros. Hired Sean Levy to direct the film, though he and writers Kieran and Michelle Mulroney, who were developing the film together, left the project by December. By July 2015, Warner Bros. Hired Rob McElhenney to direct the film. He said that he had been drawn to the film based on the open-world nature of the game, an idea Warner Bros. Had initially agreed with and for which they had provided him with a preliminary $150 million budget. Early production started in 2016, and an initial release date was announced for May 24, 2019. Jason Fuchs was set to write the script of the film, and Steve Carell was going to star as the voice of an unknown character. However, by late 2016, McElhenney's Minecraft film slowly died on the vine, after studio executive Greg Silverman's departure from Warner Bros. In late 2016. Aaron and Adam Ney were tapped to rewrite the script and the film was delayed as a result. No new director was announced at that time. By January 2019, Peter Sollett was announced to write and direct the film, which would feature an entirely different story from McElhenney's version. Messick, who died in 2018, was posthumously credited as producer. The original vision Sollett had for the film involved a teenage girl and her unlikely group of adventurers as they set out on a quest to defeat the Ender Dragon, the final boss of the original Minecraft game. The film was later given a new release date of March 4, 2022. In June 2019, Alison Schroeder was hired to write the script and co-write the story with Sollett. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, Warner Bros. Was forced to adjust its release schedule, which included removing the Minecraft film from its planned release date. In April 2022, production on the Minecraft film was announced to be moving forward without Sollett and Schroeder, with Jared Hess now set to direct, Legendary Entertainment to co-produce, through its executive Mary Parent, and Jason Momoa in early talks to star. The film was also confirmed to be live action. 35 It was also reported that Chris Bowman and Hubble Palmer, who collaborated with Hess on Masterminds, 2016, would rewrite the script. producer Roy Lee credited new leadership at Warner Brothers for pushing the film into production after so many years, saying, "Toby Emmerich shut it down when he first started, and if he had never run Warner Brothers, it would have been made years earlier. It was only after Pam and Mike started that they reignited the project and it got made." Hess' involvement in the film began after a separate project he was developing with Legendary never materialized, and he was involved by the studio to pitch a take for the Minecraft adaptation. He later stated that he enjoyed trying to adapt something that doesn't have a story, it's an open sandbox game, and hoped to find an opportunity for a fun, ridiculous movie. The film's final writing credits went to Chris Bowman, Hubble Palmer, Neil Widener, Gavin James, and Chris Gauletta, who wrote the film from a story by Alison Schroeder, Bowman, and Palmer. Off-screen additional literary material credit was given to Hess, McElhenney, Fuchs, Megan Amram, Kevin Beagle, John Francis Daly, Dana Fox, Hannah Friedman, Jonathan Goldstein, Phil Augusta Jackson, Lauren Kahn, Kieran Mulroney, Michelle Mulroney, Aaron Ney, Adam Ney, Zach Penn, Simon Rich, Peter Sollett, Laura Steenel, John Spates, Oren Uziel, and Ben Wexler. While adapting Minecraft into a film, the production crew aimed to make sure that the objects present in the film were faithful to the game, made up only of cubes. This included everything from trees to fruit. Several YouTubers and members of the Minecraft community were present during the production of the film, with YouTuber Mumbo Jumbo contributing towards designing some of the props. When writing and directing the film, the team opted to make a story based on Minecraft, rather than making an official canon story, which they viewed as in line with Minecraft's nature as a sandbox game that lets players create their own stories. As such, the film was titled A Minecraft Movie, rather than The Minecraft Movie. This concept is also applied to the film's depiction of one of Minecraft's characters, Steve, which the production crew described Jack Black's version as one of many Steves not meant to represent the Steve present in Minecraft. James Thomas served as the film's editor. While a Minecraft movie is predominantly a live-action film, it uses a heavy amount of computer animation to simulate the terrain, animals, monsters, and other objects. Green screens and in-studio lighting were also used extensively. 3D models were imported into Unreal Engine to create virtual environments of various sets, which were used throughout the production of the film. Visual effects for the film were provided by Sony Pictures Imageworks, Weta FX, and Digital Domain, with Dan Lemon serving as visual effects supervisor. Around the same time that Hess was announced to direct the film, it was also stated that Momoa would star in the film. In May 2023, Matt Berry entered negotiations to join the cast, while Danielle Brooks and Sebastian Eugene Hansen joined the cast in November, and Emma Myers joined the cast in December. Jack Black, who previously collaborated with Hess on Nacho Libre in 2006, joined the cast in January 2024, teasing his casting in the film via his official Instagram account. Originally, Berry was supposed to play Steve while Black was set to only appear as a cameo in the form of a talking pig, but due to the 2023 Hollywood labor disputes, Berry had to vacate the role, with Black taking over the role of Steve. According to producer Torfi Franz Olofsson, Black's depiction of Steve was specific to him. At the same time as Black's casting, Jennifer Coolidge, Kate McKinnon, and Jemaine Clement were also cast in then undisclosed roles. YouTuber Valkyrie was originally set to appear in the film, but was removed after she openly accused Momoa of mistreating the cast and production crew. Principal photography for the film began in January 2024 in Auckland, New Zealand, and concluded by April of that year. A majority of the scenes set in the fictional town of Chuglass, Idaho were filmed in Huntley, with additional production taking place at Helensville, Auckland Film Studios, and Settlers Country Manor. Originally, filming was going to begin in August 2023, but was delayed due to the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike. Grant Major served as the production designer, and Enrique Chediak served as the cinematographer. Mark Mothersbaugh composed the original score, while Gabe Hilfer and Karen Rachtman serve as music supervisors. Mothersbaugh incorporated nods to the music of the game by C418, and said that the score was meant to balance the charm of the characters with the action, while retaining a depth and emotional resonance. From the Minecraft soundtrack, C418's title track plays during the opening credits, and his song Dragonfish plays during a scene with pandas. Lena Raine's track Pigstep features during the Nether's Got Talent sequence. The film includes several original songs performed by Black, including I Feel Alive. It was written by Black, and features Foo Fighters frontman Dave Grohl on drums, Queens of the Stone Age guitarist Troy Van Leeuwen, Jellyfish keyboardist Roger Joseph Manning Jr., and Mark Ronson on both rhythm guitar and bass. Brooks also provides backup vocals. The song was released as a single prior to the release of the film on March 20, 2025. Mothersbaugh's score, along with original songs by Benny, Daiglo, and Dirty Honey, was released digitally on March 28. 68. The film also features an instrumental rendition of Depeche Mode's Just Can't Get Enough performed by Jameson Shaw. Another song in the film, Steve's Lava Chicken, went viral online after the film's release and charted in several territories. The song became the shortest song to reach the top 40 of the UK singles chart, and the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States. The film's first teaser trailer, set to the Beatles' Magical Mystery Tour, was released on September 4, 2024. Audience reactions to the teaser were noted as divided or generally negative, with criticism for the CGI, design, and live-action nature of the film. Andrew Webster of The Verge said that besides its unsettling imagery, it looks like some silly family fun. Tom Power of Tech Radar could not decide whether it was drop-dead gorgeous or the stuff of nightmares. Marcus Persson, the creator of Minecraft, praised the trailer on Twitter, saying, "Okay, I'm in. Wow, this is a weird feeling." Various clips and images from the trailer, such as the designs of a bleeding pink sheep and a white llama, and Jack Black saying "I am Steve," were ridiculed by online commenters. A second trailer, set to management's Time to Pretend, was released on November 19, to a more positive response from many viewers. A final trailer for the film was released on February 27, and a final teaser for the film was released on March 27. A few days before the film's release, a work print version featuring incomplete visual effects and CGI, missing credits, and significant chroma key masking errors was leaked onto various piracy websites and spread on social media platforms such as Twitter. Mojang collaborated with various brands to create promotional products for the film, including action figures of the characters, Creeper Green Vanilla Milk from TrueMove, wallpaper themes for the Samsung Galaxy S25 and Samsung Electronics' smart TVs and smart refrigerators, and special Happy Meals offered by McDonald's. The unusual nature of these products, such as the uncanny appearance of the Jack Black action figure, garnered attention and some criticism, though the Nether Flame Sauce hot dipping sauce from the McDonald's promotion was lauded for its spice and suitability with Chicken McNuggets. A Minecraft movie had its official premiere at the Leicester Square in London, England, on March 30, 2025, and was released theatrically in IMAX in the United States and Sweden by Warner Bros. Pictures on April 4. A Minecraft movie was released for digital download on May 13, 2025, and was released on Ultra HD Blu-ray, and DVD on June 24. It was released on HBO Max on June 20. A Minecraft movie grossed $424.1 million in the United States and Canada and $537.1 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $961.2 million. In the United States and Canada, a Minecraft movie was released alongside Hell of a Summer, and was initially projected to gross $65 to $70 million from 4,263 theaters in its opening weekend, with some estimates going as high as $80 million. It made an estimated $10.6 million from Thursday night previews, topping Five Nights at Freddy's $10.3 million for best total by a video game adaptation, and increasing weekend projections to $80 to $100 million. After making $58 million on its first day, including previews, estimates were again revised to $135 to $150 million. It ended up debuting with $162.8 million domestically and $313 million globally on its opening weekend, surpassing the Super Mario Bros. Movie domestically, which also featured Black, as the highest-grossing opening weekend for a movie based on a video game. The film had the third highest Warner Bros. Opening weekend, behind Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 2 and Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, as well as the company's highest April opening weekend, beating out Clash of the Titans. It also beat out Captain America, Brave New World to achieve the biggest opening weekend of 2025 at the time. Additionally, a Minecraft movie earned the third highest April opening weekend, trailing Avengers, Endgame and Avengers, Infinity War, and was the second highest for a legendary production, only behind Jurassic World. Overall, it would score the fourth highest opening weekend for a PG-rated film, after The Lion King, Incredibles 2 and Beauty and the Beast. The movie also marked the highest opening weekend for Jared Hess, surpassing Nacho Libre, Danielle Brooks, surpassing the Angry Birds movie, and Jennifer Coolidge, surpassing American Pie 2. In its second weekend, a Minecraft movie grossed $78.5 million. Within its first 7 days of release, it became the first film of 2025 to reach the $200 million mark domestically, replacing Captain America, Brave New World as the market's highest-grossing film of the year. It also became the second highest-grossing movie based on a video game, surpassing Sonic the Hedgehog 3. In its third weekend, a Minecraft movie, grossing $40.5 million, would drop to second place after Warner Bros.' new release Sinners grossed $48 million, in what was considered to be an upset. It was the first time one studio had two films gross more than $40 million over the same weekend since 2009. On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, 47% of 196 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of 5/10. The website's consensus reads, ostensibly a film about celebrating creativity, a Minecraft movie provides a colorful sandbox for Jack Black and Jason Momoa to amusingly romp around in a story curiously constructed from conventional building blocks. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned the film a score of 45 out of 100, based on 40 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. Audience reactions to the film were more positive in comparison to critics. Filmgoers polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of B+ on an A+ to F scale, while 67% of those surveyed by PostTrack said they would definitely recommend the film. Kids under the age of 12 gave the film an average rating of 5 out of 5 stars, while parents gave an average of 4.5 out of 5 stars. Critics were divided on the film's plot and whether or not a Minecraft movie was a faithful adaptation of the game, as well as if it made sense to viewers unfamiliar with it. Lovia Gyarki of The Hollywood Reporter and Jesse Hassanger of IGN both believed that the film's plot was confusing. Gyarki felt that it struggled to maintain a balance between appeasing the Minecraft fandom and writing a film that made sense to a general audience, and Hassanger said that the film was conceptually muddy and confusingly and erratically presented. Mark Kennedy of the Associated Press believed that the film would likely make no sense to a viewer unfamiliar with the source material, but still believed that it was a faithful adaptation. However, he did highlight the film's featuring of concepts not present within the game itself to enable plot progression. Contrarily, Liz Shannon Miller of Consequence believed that the plot was fully comprehensible to someone unfamiliar with the game. Stephen Thompson of NPR stated that turning Minecraft into a movie presents a challenge, because the film has a lot of character development to catch up on. But, as the Lego Movie and Barbie have demonstrated, it's possible to get it spectacularly right. Some reviewers viewed the fan service present within the film positively, particularly highlighting the tribute to Technoblade. The performances of the cast, particularly Black and Momoa, were praised, with many critics viewing them as helping alleviate or distract from problems present within the film's plot. Miller and Jordan Hoffman of Entertainment Weekly both felt that the story was not the main priority of the film and could be ignored in favor of the performance of the actors, the former believing that the film was mainly made with the intent of having fun. However, some viewed that the characters, despite the performances of their actors, were generally underdeveloped. The subplot involving Coolidge's character dating a villager, while viewed as generally unnecessary or relatively thin in terms of character development, was subject to some praise as well. Some reviewers questioned the purpose or value of the film, with some viewing it as nothing more than a product with the intent of promoting Minecraft. Both Kevin Marr of The Times and David Fear of Rolling Stone likened the film to a corporate cash grab, viewing it as existing with the sole purpose of promoting the Minecraft brand and offering nothing else of value. Marr further viewed the film as lacking a level of versatility present in other video game adaptations, while Fear believed that the film was intentionally confusing so that it would stay in the minds of people longer, and therefore encourage them to purchase merchandise. While Clarice Luffrey of The Independent believed that the idea behind a live-action Minecraft adaptation was fundamentally flawed and destroyed the spirit of the source material, she felt that the film had genuine intent and was not like other adaptations that she viewed as existing solely for the sake of profit. The film sparked boisterous reactions and disorderly conduct from viewers, particularly Generation Z American and British adolescent boys, with some partaking in a viral internet phenomenon on TikTok, alongside other social media platforms. Participants would often react enthusiastically to moments in the film that have been the subject of internet memes, such as spontaneously erupting into loud cheers, jumping in excitement, dancing, or throwing popcorn when Steve exclaims "Chicken Jockey." Other viral lines include "Flint and Steel" and "I am Steve." In one screening, viral videos emerged documenting audience members hoisting a live chicken after the quote and being promptly ejected from the theater at Provo Town Center in Provo, Utah. Another involved a group setting off fire extinguishers and smoke bombs, suffocating fellow theatergoers, while another led to a violent altercation in the parking lot outside the theater after adults asked for teenagers to quiet down. The trend has also spread to other Gen Z teenage boys from Australia and South Africa. Reactions to the phenomenon were mixed. Some audience members frowned upon the misconduct as annoying and disruptive, while several theater chains posted warnings against unruly behavior. Police were reportedly called to restore order and eject offenders, including an instance where an employee was physically harmed, although no charges were filed. Hess defended some of these antics as harmless and amusing, further explaining that he and Black had conceived the scene because they thought it would be funny if Steve announced everything that happens to him, stating the obvious with extreme intensity. Black made a surprise appearance at a screening and warned fans not to throw popcorn. Writing for The Observer, Kate Maltby opined that audiences had crossed the line, pointing to the mess left for janitors to clean up. Many observers noted that the trend was evolving into a distinct cultural phenomenon, particularly emphasizing the immersive and communal nature of the theater experience. Research psychologist Rachel Coward commented, "While being quiet is generally the norm in traditional theater settings, it's important to recognize that different fan cultures come with their own expectations for how to engage." She added, "In this case, the energy surrounding the Minecraft movie reflects a deeply engaged fandom, one that is enthusiastic about sharing the experience in a communal setting." Others argued that the trend reflected youth culture rather than incivility, akin to concerts or sporting events. Warner Brothers released a special block party edition of the film on May 2, 2025, in which fans were encouraged to sing along and meme along viral moments in the film. In the United Kingdom, the cinema chain Cineworld hosted a similar event dubbed Chicken Jockey screenings, in which fans were encouraged to cosplay and make noises, a move praised for its ingenuity by Vulture's Nicholas Quah. The phenomenon is compared to audience participation at screenings of the Rocky Horror Picture Show 1975, and The Room 2003, as well as the Gentle Minions TikTok trend surrounding Minions, The Rise of Gru 2022, that similarly involved adolescent boys engaging in outlandish behavior. It has been cited as one of the factors for the film's box office success. Talks for a potential sequel to the film began a few days after the film's release on April 4, 2025. Hess has expressed interest in making a sequel, noting the world's use of infinite mods, characters, and biomes, outlining how Minecraft is virtually endless. He later stated that there were many ideas they had for the film that they were unable to use, but would likely be included as part of a sequel. On April 11, 2025, it was reported that a sequel is in early development. At the end of a behind-the-scenes interview, the VFX supervisor Sheldon Stopsack and the animation supervisor Kevin Esty both refer to the film's sequel as another Minecraft movie. On October 9, a sequel was announced with a release date of July 23, 2027, with Hess returning to direct and Galletta returning to co-write the screenplay. Legendary Pictures will return to produce and provide funding. A poster with an image of two pickaxes under a crafting table, with the text below saying July 23, 2027, was posted on the film's official Twitter account, and circulated around the official Minecraft and Warner Bros. Social media accounts. On March 19, 2026, it was announced that Kirsten Dunst was cast in the role of Alex. The sequel was announced under the title A Minecraft Sequel on April 15, 2026. It was later given an official title, A Minecraft Movie Squared, on May 30, 2026, during Minecraft Live. Overworld is a place of creativity. You can almost magically build things there from blocks of environmental materials and excavated minerals. We don't see much of that actually happen in the storyline, but that ability is the reason that both Steve and Teen Henry love the place. Ultimately, though, they both decide to return to the real world to explore their creative abilities. Encouraging young viewers to invest their creative energies in the world around them and not just in make-believe and fantasy. Steve crystallizes that thought by saying, "Turns out that if you're brave enough, you can make the real world into your overworld." We also see people defending one another and stepping into perilous situations to save someone else. We're never told what the strange overworld and nether dimensions actually are. But the two-piece orb of dominance contains some form of unexplained magic. In Overworld, for that matter, people can almost magically make building materials appear. And defeated characters puff out of existence when stabbed or struck, more on that in violent content. Also, at night creepy creatures roam the land and attack people. Zombies are a part of that mix as well. The Nether, on the other hand, is a dark, barren, and burning place that gives the impression of being an almost demonic landscape. In fact, Steve calls it a hellhole. Garrett uses the Spanish phrase vaya con Dios, go with God, but interprets it as meaning something about parting as friends and brothers. Vice Principal Marlene at Henry's school rattles on inappropriately to him about her divorce. And that's used to set up a running gag later on. Marlene hits an overland villager who slipped into the real world with her car. This character cannot talk, but she takes him to dinner, believing that they have a great connection. Marlene flirts with him and invites him back to her house for dessert. It's then implied that they've been intimate. And the vice principal announces their upcoming nuptials. Marlene also meets Garrett, who's masquerading as Henry's uncle, and she recognizes him from his famous days when he was nicknamed the Gabrigaman. "You can bag me up and take me to the curb anytime," she coos in his direction. Once Garrett and crew discover and rescue Steve, an all-out war is unleashed by Mage Queen Malgisa. She sends out hundreds of piglin warriors and great pig generals who beat up overworld villagers and slash at Steve, Garrett, and the others. Balloon-like creatures launch huge fireballs that explode against buildings, towers, bridges, various mountainsides and the like. Garrett faces off against large creatures and small, including the huge piglin generals and a tiny chicken-riding zombie. He's repeatedly thumped around and beaten. One of the more disturbing elements of the battles happen when piglins are stabbed or slashed and end up as slabs of meat or pork chops impaled by a knife or sword. It's perhaps supposed to be funny, but it's actually surprisingly grim. Huge tarantula-riding skeletons are smashed to bits. Human-like creatures also have their arms ripped off. Some explode when hit. And the piglins, when hit by sunlight, sometimes burst into flames. A blob of lava gets dropped onto a live chicken, instantly turning it into a roast chicken that people rip into and eat. Some combatants get hit in the crotch. An entire farm full of creepers erupts in a mass explosion. Pink sheep are attacked and have their colored wool ripped off by the fistful. We hear a litany of mildly rude and crude language scattered throughout a Minecraft movie. These words might not all technically qualify as profane, but they're certainly not the kinds of phrases you'd want repeated by your children at the dinner table. They include multiple uses of dumba, frickin', heck, bullcrap, screw it, crap, shut up, dang it and booger face. Someone also exclaims, son of a biscuit, and calls another character Captain Butt Crack. There are several references to butts and other potty humor nods in a Minecraft movie. For instance, Garrett tells someone, I will crack your cabeza like a walnut between my butt cheeks. And Steve proclaims, I hate to take a big, fat dump on your plans. Etc. Natalie buys her younger brother some body spray to wear for his first day at a new school. He notes that it smells like banana bread and POO. People lie. And some bullies shove people around and sabotage Henry's invention, which then destroys a large company mascot. I mean, any movie that sets Jack Black loose to sing, unleash madcap improv and bellow at the sky, beard and graying mane blowing in the breeze will draw a crowd. And then when you throw in Jason Momoa playing against type and being comically pummeled by a little chicken rider and other beasties, you're bound to please a few quirk-loving critics. But is this a gleaming, blocky castle of fun that's built for little kids and their families? Nay, I mean even pure fans of the Minecraft game will likely walk away a little disappointed. Sure, the characters we meet repeatedly reference the incredible creative opportunities in the strange, cubey overworld. And that's certainly the heart and soul of the Minecraft game this pick is based on. But other than a colorful aesthetic, there's very little creativity on display here. There's no adventure, no discovery, no treasure, and no real block-building joy that a fan of the game would expect. Instead, we get a lot of monster bashing, wacky histrionics and fanservice bits. It's loud, chaotic, and silly. Now, that high-energy silliness works sometimes. But it's often the adult-geared variety that makes this pick problematic for kids. The language is sometimes edgy, especially for a PG-rated film, the violence can be a bit much, and the jokes lean heavily toward the adult humor side, such as a running gag involving a divorced vice principal's implied sexual affair. Yes, there is a small encouragement at the movie's end to go find your creative outlet in real life and to step away from the make-believe of a game world. That's good. But it kind of feels tagged on. I won't say this film is destined to be sent to the darkest pits of the nether. But it won't be winning any Gaming Movie of the Year awards, either. Oh, and if you go in hoping for a return to title screen button you can push, you're out of luck. Shutting your brain off is the only option. Everyone was a kid once, and most of us can trace our childhoods through the toys, games, and colorful brands that filled those early years, from toddler favorites to teenage obsessions. These products stick with us, becoming nostalgic touchstones we carry into adulthood. Naturally, Hollywood has tapped into that sentiment over the years, turning beloved toy lines and game platforms into full-blown cinematic experiences. The results? A mixed bag. For every Transformers, 2007, The Lego Movie, 2014, or Barbie, 2023, that strikes box office gold, there's a Bratz, 2007, Kid Kittredge, An American Girl, 2008, or Playmobil, the movie, 2019, that crashes and burns. Now, Warner Brothers. Pictures and director Jared Hess takes a swing at adapting one of the biggest digital sandboxes of the modern era with a Minecraft movie, based on the massively popular 2011 video game. The question is, does this film build something worth remembering, or is it just another noisy, pixelated byproduct from a niche corner of pop culture? As a kid, Steve, Jack Black, dreamed of mining for treasure and chasing adventure. Now an uninspired adult, that curiosity still lingers, until it leads him back underground, where he discovers a mysterious glowing orb that opens a portal to the overworld, a vibrant realm built from imagination and endless blocks. But magic has its dangers. Deep in the fiery nether, a ruthless warlord named Malgisa, Rachel House, commands an army of piglins and wants the orb's power for herself. Before being captured, Steve sends the orb back to the real world, hoping someone will answer the call. That someone turns out to be a mismatched group in small-town Ohio. Natalie, Emma Myers, is a frustrated factory worker. Her younger brother Henry, Sebastian Hansen, is the awkward new kid at school. Joining them are Dawn, Danielle Brooks, a real estate agent stuck in a rut, and Garrett, Jason Momoa, a washed-up former video game champ clinging to the ADS. When they activate the orb, they're transported to the overworld, and run across a very surprised Steve in the process. With Malgisa closing in, the group must figure out how to survive in a world where creativity is the ultimate weapon. To save both realms, they'll need to learn, build, and believe in each other, and in themselves. Much like films adapted from best-selling novels, movies based on toys and games have carved out a unique little corner of the industry. These projects come armed with familiar brands, nostalgic IPs, and built-in fan bases, ready to be reimagined as cinematic adventures for the big screen. It's not exactly a fresh idea. If anything, it highlights the growing criticism that Hollywood is running low on originality, choosing to lean heavily on existing properties to keep the box office booming. When it comes to translating toys and games into feature films, the results can be wildly inconsistent. There have been plenty of misfires that either failed to live up to the hype or completely missed the spirit of the source material. Titles like Dungeons and Dragons, 2000, Battleship, 2012, Max Steel, 2016, Ugly Dolls, 2019, and Playmobil, the movie, 2019, come to mind. Yet, when done right, these adaptations can strike box office gold and connect with both longtime fans and general audiences. Success stories like Transformers, 2007, The Lego Movie, 2014, Barbie, 2023, and The Super Mario Bros. Movie, 2023, prove that the potential is definitely there. Then there are those middle ground entries, films that didn't quite hit it big but still found cult followings over time, such as Clue, 1985, Masters of the Universe, 1987, and Mars Attacks, 1996. In the end, calling this particular subgenre niche might be an understatement. Whether they flop or fly, movies based on toys and games continue to be a profitable avenue, even if the overall success rate is all over the map. This brings me to a Minecraft movie, the 2025 fantasy adventure film and the latest entry in Hollywood's ongoing trend of adapting popular toys and game-based properties. Given how successful other projects have been over the years, it felt like only a matter of time before Minecraft got the big screen treatment. And honestly, it makes sense. The Minecraft brand has become a powerhouse over the past decade, offering players the freedom to build, explore, and shape entire worlds from their imaginations, while also expanding its lore across various spin-offs and downloadable content. With no signs of slowing down, a feature film was inevitable. Now, full confession, I haven't played much Minecraft. I know. Gasp. It never fully grabbed me like it has so many others. That said, I do own a copy of Minecraft Dungeons, which I'll pick up now and then. So while I'm far from an expert, I'm at least somewhat familiar with the basics, just enough to know what this universe is about, even if I wouldn't survive long in survival mode. As for when I first heard a Minecraft movie was in the works, I can't recall the exact moment, but let's be real, it was bound to happen. I do remember hearing that Jack Black and Jason Momoa had signed on, which definitely caught my attention. Black, especially, seemed like a fun fit after his standout performance as Bowser in the Super Mario Bros. Movie, 2023. Then came the marketing campaign, trailers online and in theaters that promised a light-hearted, blocky adventure fit for the whole family. It looked fun, colorful, and chaotic, but something about it also felt a little off. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Still, curiosity got the better of me, and I caught the film on its opening weekend, April 4, 2025. However, due to my schedule, and needing to finish a few other reviews, I held off on writing about it, until now. So, what did I think? Honestly, it's kind of a mixed bag. A Minecraft movie delivers exactly what you'd expect on a visual level, colorful, creative, and blocky in all the right ways. It also embraces a silly, family-friendly sense of humor that can be entertaining at times. But once you dig beneath the surface, there's not a whole lot holding it together. The story is thin, the characters are forgettable, and it all moves at a pace so breezy, it barely gives anything time to land. It's not boring, but it lacks substance, nuance, and a firm directorial grip to pull it into something truly memorable. A Minecraft movie is directed by Jared Hess, best known for his work on quirky, offbeat comedies like Napoleon Dynamite, Nacho Libre, and Gentleman Broncos. Given his background, Hess actually feels like a fitting choice to bring the eccentric world of Minecraft to life on the big screen. And to his credit, he absolutely embraces the weirdness of it all, though not without a few noticeable missteps along the way, more on that in a bit. On the positive side, Hess clearly knows his target audience, the Minecraft fan base. In many ways, the film plays out like a love letter to those who've spent hours building, crafting, and exploring within the game's blocky universe. He leans into that sandbox spirit with gusto, filling the movie with familiar gameplay elements, visual references, and nods that fans will no doubt appreciate. Armed with a full digital playground, Hess taps into the franchise's three core gameplay pillars: architectural building, crafting ingenuity, and survival mechanics, and weaves them into the DNA of the film. From recognizable tools and crafting tables to classic mobs and environment types, the movie is packed with references that help bring the Minecraft world to life. These details may fly under the radar for casual viewers, but for longtime fans, they help ground the film in its source material and deliver that satisfying sense of they got it right. Of course, the movie follows a familiar strangers in a strange land narrative, complete with a magical object the heroes must find in order to defeat the villain and make their way back home. It's a well-worn formula, but one that feels like a throwback to the kind of fantasy adventure films from the 80s and 90s that many of us grew up loving. In that sense, I actually enjoyed the nostalgic vibe of the setup. Could it have been fleshed out more? Absolutely. But for what it is, the framework gets the job done. On the comedy front, Hess's background in quirky filmmaking really pays off. A Minecraft movie keeps the humor flowing from start to finish, and while much of it is aimed at younger viewers, think goofy one-liners, sight gags, and plenty of slapstick. I was surprised by how often I found myself laughing. It's light, it's silly, and for the most part, it works. Hess knows how to land a punchline, and his comedic instincts help elevate some of the weaker material. The film also benefits from a brisk runtime. Clocking in at 101 minutes, a Minecraft movie moves at a fast clip, with plenty happening in every scene. There's always something to see, hear, or react to, and the pacing never really drags. Granted, that constant momentum does create a few surface-level issues, which I'll touch on below, but there's no denying that the film is a high-energy, sugar rush kind of ride. All in all, while far from the most polished movie out there, Hess does manage to steer the film into being an entertaining and chaotic romp, one that's consistently wacky, packed with color, and, most importantly, never boring. When it comes to presentation, a Minecraft movie is exactly what you'd expect: bright, colorful, and visually alive within its unique, blocky world. While it may not be the most immersive cinematic universe ever put to screen, it definitely embraces the spirit of its source material. The film leans into the quirky charm of Minecraft's pixelated landscapes, shaping a playful, joyfully odd world where everything has edges, literally. It's all very fun to look at, and the visual direction matches the tone of the games well. There's a clear effort to keep the movie light, whimsical, and consistent with the style fans have come to love. To that end, the behind-the-scenes crew deserves a shout-out. Production designer Grant Major, set decorator Ember Richards, costume designers Lucy McLeay and Amanda Neal, and the full art direction team all help bring this colorful world and its eccentric characters to life in a way that's visually cohesive and engaging. Cinematographer Enrique Chediak also contributes with some dynamic framing and visual flourishes that add a bit of cinematic flair to the more dramatic or action-heavy moments. And composer Mark Mothersbaugh delivers a solid score throughout, filled with energetic themes and quirky melodies that bolster the movie's tone nicely. Oh, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the standout musical moment, Steve's Lava Chicken. Performed by Jack Black, the song is short, goofy, and ridiculously catchy. It's bouncy, playful, and honestly hard not to love, one of the film's unexpected highlights. Unfortunately, a Minecraft movie struggles when it comes to balancing fan service with accessible storytelling, which makes the whole experience feel clunky in some areas and half-baked in others. How so? For starters, the film feels a little too niche for mainstream audiences. Like many adaptations of popular properties, there needs to be a careful balance between catering to longtime fans and welcoming in casual moviegoers. This movie doesn't quite strike that balance. Sure, the story is easy enough to follow, and most of the action moves along in a fairly straightforward way, but a lot of it feels tailored more for Minecraft diehards than the general public. That's especially noticeable in the world building and the barrage of references and cameos. Many of them aren't really explained or contextualized, so if you're not already familiar with the source material, you might find yourself a little lost. Speaking personally, as someone who's only dabbled in Minecraft, I picked up on a few things here and there. But others? Total head scratchers. Case in point, the whole chicken jockey moment. It clearly meant something to the fans, judging by the reaction in the theater, but it completely went over my head. At the end of the day, the movie leans too hard on its built-in fan base for support. That might work for some, but it leaves casual viewers feeling left out, and the film weaker because of it. Building off that idea, another major stumbling block for a Minecraft movie is the story itself, which feels noticeably light and undercooked in several key areas. As I mentioned earlier, there's definitely a sense of fun and whimsy here, channeling the familiar transported to another world vibe we've seen in countless fantasy adventures. And while that setup has potential, the execution leaves a lot to be desired. To be clear, I wasn't expecting some deep, layered narrative going into this. After all, the original Minecraft game, and even most of its spin-offs, aren't exactly known for story depth. They're more about exploration, creativity, and player-driven experiences. So, in that sense, the film's simplistic narrative approach does mirror the source material. But even with that in mind, I still found myself hoping for something more substantial, something more inspired than just a familiar, by-the-numbers plot. Instead, the movie plays it incredibly safe. It follows a predictable, formulaic arc that we've seen many times before. While this allows the film to stay light and energetic, without getting bogged down in exposition, it also means the story lacks cohesion and depth. Events unfold in a fast and chaotic fashion, but they often feel disjointed and haphazard, adding to the wacky tone, sure, but ultimately making the narrative feel more like a messy collage than a fully realized journey. Then there's the script itself, written by a small army of writers, including Alison Schroeder, Chris Bowman, Hubble Palmer, Neil Widener, Gavin James, and Chris Gauletta. And unfortunately, it has that classic too many cooks in the kitchen vibe. You can tell multiple voices and ideas that were stitched together in an attempt to create a unified story, but the end result feels muddled. It borrows liberally from other, better films, glosses over character development, and features dialogue that often feels clunky, unnatural, or just plain dull. There are flashes of creativity, but they're buried under a script that never quite finds its rhythm. Director Jared Hess doesn't fare much better, unfortunately. His work behind the camera on a Minecraft movie feels a bit out of step, like he's not entirely sure how to wrangle the chaos into something cohesive. The film moves at a brisk pace, which does make it an easy, breezy watch, but that comes at the expense of just about everything else. Because of the rushed rhythm, major story beats feel hollow, like filler moments that exist just to push things along. There's little weight or substance to the narrative, and the characters suffer because of it. Instead of growing or evolving, they end up feeling flat and underused, with personalities that barely stretch beyond their initial introductions. Hess does try to breathe some life into the film now and then, whether through sight gags or a burst of energy in the action sequences, but most of it lands with a thud. The whole thing ends up feeling redundant, lackluster, and unsure of itself, like a movie that knows what it wants to be, but just can't quite get there. Lastly, some of the visual effects are questionable at best. I get it, this kind of movie relies heavily on green screen and digital environments, and that's to be expected. But there are a handful of scenes where the CG backdrops are glaringly obvious and feel oddly unpolished. Now, if this were a low-budget or under-the-radar release, that might be more forgivable. But for a movie positioned as a major studio-backed blockbuster, those rough visual spots stand out in a bad way. It doesn't ruin the entire experience, but it does undercut the overall presentation and leaves the film feeling a bit underwhelming in places where it really needed to shine. The cast of a Minecraft movie is a bit of a mixed bag. Some actors shine in their larger-than-life roles, while others feel either lost in the shuffle or stuck with half-baked material. It all kind of goes hand in hand with the film's uneven script. While there are attempts to flesh out motivations and emotional beats, most of the character work falls flat, leaving the cast to pick up the slack. And unfortunately, not all of them are equipped to carry that weight, which only highlights the film's weak character development. Leading the charge, and easily the best thing about the movie, is Jack Black as Steve, a former doorknob salesman who's been living in the overworld for years and ends up guiding Garrett, Natalie, Henry, and Don through their chaotic journey. Black, known for his roles in School of Rock, Kung Fu Panda, and the Super Mario Bros. Movie, has always had a gift for larger-than-life characters and scene-stealing comedic energy. His presence here is no different. From the moment he appears on screen, Black brings just the right mix of zany humor, charm, and over-the-top delivery. He's clearly having fun with the role, and that infectious energy helps elevate every scene he's in. The character of Steve may not be the most complex, his arc is pretty straightforward and plays things safe, but Black makes him endlessly entertaining to watch. He's easily the film's biggest strength, and every time he's on screen, the movie feels a little more alive. Right behind Black, the film's other big-ticket star is Jason Momoa, who plays Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison, a video game store owner and former gaming champion from the 1980s. Known for his work in Game of Thrones, Aquaman, and Fast X, Momoa has carved out a name for himself in the world of blockbuster cinema. So seeing him take on a role in a Minecraft movie feels like a natural move, and much like Black, he seems to be having a good time with the material. Garrett is part of the film's oddball charm, a washed-up gamer who acts like a bit of a man-child and finds himself thrown into a world that's somehow even more chaotic than his own. It's a fun setup, and Momoa hams it up just enough to sell the premise. That said, he doesn't quite hit the comedic highs that Black does. While Momoa clearly knows the kind of movie he's in and leans into the over-the-top elements when he can, he doesn't always stick the landing. Maybe it's a matter of comedic timing, or maybe he's just not as comfortable in this kind of zany space, but there are moments where he feels a bit out of sync with the tone. Still, his character isn't a total miss. Garrett has a few amusing and even heartfelt moments sprinkled throughout, and Momoa does manage to bring some charisma to the role. But overall, he seems slightly out of his depth in a movie that's this cartoonishly unhinged. Sadly, most of the main human characters come off feeling flat and underdeveloped. This includes Henry, a creative tween who struggles to fit in, Natalie, his protective older sister, and Don, a quirky real estate agent who also runs a mobile petting zoo. They're played by Sebastian Hansen, Just Mercy, Lisa Story, Emma Myers, Wednesday, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and Danielle Brooks, Orange is the New Black. Close enough, a capable cast, but they're not given much to work with. Of the group, these three unfortunately fare the worst. Their characters feel incredibly one-dimensional and half-baked. I can see what the script was trying to do, especially with Henry and Natalie, two siblings trying to reconnect while dealing with their own personal struggles. Henry's imagination is misunderstood, and Natalie is burdened with acting like a stand-in parent. But none of it really lands. Their arcs are so haphazardly written that there's little emotional payoff, and the characters never feel compelling enough to carry their own weight. As for Dawn, she's easily the most unnecessary addition. She drifts through the story without much purpose and contributes very little to the main narrative. Honestly, you could cut her from the movie entirely and nothing would change. Brooks does what she can with the material, but in the end, Dawn just feels like filler, a character added for laughs or flavor, but without any real function in the story. Speaking of superfluous, one of the most puzzling and unnecessary additions to the film is Vice Principal Marlene, played by Jennifer Coolidge, Legally Blonde and The White Lotus. While Coolidge brings her trademark flair to the role, the character herself feels like a leftover from another movie. Marlene has little, if any, impact on the main plot and ends up being more of a subplot detour than a meaningful presence. Honestly, you could cut her storyline entirely and the movie wouldn't skip a beat. Coolidge does her usual comedic routine, which might land for some viewers, but here it comes off as tired and oddly placed. Despite her star power, her scenes drag more than they entertain, leaving Marlene's role, and Coolidge's performance, as forgettable and strangely out of sync with the rest of the film. The last major character worth highlighting in a Minecraft movie is its main antagonist, Malgisa, the sorceress piglin ruler of the Nether, voiced by Rachel House, Moana, Foundation. Malgisa fits right in with the movie's chaotic tone, and she actually makes for a pretty entertaining villain. Sure, she's evil, but there's a layer of goofy humor woven into her wickedness that keeps things fun rather than frightening. A lot of that charm comes from House's performance. She nails the role with a voice that's equal parts menacing and mischievous, delivering her lines with gleeful ease. You can tell she's having a blast, and it really comes through in the character's over-the-top personality. The rest of the voice cast features a few standout names in smaller roles. Matt Berry, the IT crowd and toast of London, lends his signature flair to a jobless villager named Nitwit. Director Jared Hess voices General Chungus, a high-ranking piglin in Malgisa's army. And Jemaine Clement, Flight of the Conchords and Moana, pops in as Malgisa's father, Bruce. These characters don't have a huge impact on the overall story, but their respective actors are each given a moment or two to shine, and they make the most of it. When four unsuspecting people are whisked away into the colorful chaos of the overworld, they quickly find themselves dodging danger, facing off against the villainous Malgisa, and teaming up with the legendary Steve to find their way home in a Minecraft movie. Director Jared Hess brings the wildly popular sandbox game to life with a playful mix of goofy characters, surreal blocky landscapes, and enough visual flair to keep things bouncing along. To its credit, the movie does a solid job capturing the spirit of Minecraft's world, full of imagination and unpredictability, with a few strong performances leading the charge, especially from Jack Black, who's clearly having a blast. But despite those strengths, the final product feels more like a jumbled build than a fully polished creation. The story is thin, the pacing uneven, and the direction a bit all over the place. Some characters work, while others feel flat or completely forgettable. It's loud, quirky, and relentlessly odd, which might be part of the charm for Minecraft fans, but could leave casual viewers scratching their heads. Personally, I thought the film was okay-ish. I had fun with the silly humor, the gags made me chuckle more than once, and Jack Black is always a riot. But by the time the credits rolled, I felt like it all added up to a big shrug. It's very clearly made for its target audience, and I think younger viewers and die-hard Minecraft fans will eat it up. For everyone else, though, it might feel a little too niche, too noisy, or just too weird to fully enjoy. Again, it definitely caters to its fans, as what usually does with video game film adaptations do. Thus, my recommendation for this movie would a solid iffy choice. That said, judging by its strong box office numbers, a sequel feels all but guaranteed. Hopefully, the next chapter can take this rough first draft and shape it into something more polished, with tighter storytelling and stronger character work. Still, a Minecraft movie knows its audience. It delivers a chaotic, often redundant, and uneven adventure that embraces its own weirdness, and somehow, that works, and yet sometimes it doesn't. How do you turn a game about the individual art of creation into the inherently passive experience of film watching? It's a challenge that the writers and director of a Minecraft movie rise to admirably enough. Call it lowered expectation, but it's a wannabe blockbuster that falls short of its potential while also rising well above similar fare, which put almost no effort into their production outside of hitting enough references to satisfy a loyal fan base. A Minecraft movie is quirky and goofy enough to make one wish it held together better overall, but it's also a likable venture, a movie that pushes through its cravenly capitalistic reason for existence, flavoring its content with enough personality to keep even the few remaining souls who have never played Minecraft engaged. A Minecraft movie opens with an exposition dump that's so long that you'll start to worry that this is a sequel to a movie you somehow missed. Steve, Jack Black, doing very Jack Black stuff, was a kid who loved to explore, and, after stumbling on a glowing blue cube in a mine, was transported to a magical place called the Overworld. There, Steve discovered that he could turn his imagination into reality, building structures across this block-based landscape. With his trusty wolf dog Dennis, Steve found his bliss, but that was shattered when he was sucked into the Netherworld, a vicious place run by a malformed pig named Malgisa, Rachel House, who rules this hellscape with an army of loyal porcine creatures. It's probably reading way too much into a Minecraft movie to say it's a commentary on how capitalist pigs can deform creative passion, but that's perhaps how Roger Waters would read it. When Steve gets stuck in the Netherworld, Dennis races back to the real world and hides the cube under Steve's bed. Years later, the cube is in a storage unit bought by an aging gamer named Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison, Jason Momoa, a past his prime local legend struggling to make ends meet at his nostalgia-driven game/toy shop. Echoes of Billy Mitchell from The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters feel intentional. One day, Garrison meets the new kid in town, an inventive teen named Henry, Sebastian Hansen, who has moved to the area with his sister Natalie, Emma Myers, after a death in the family. They discover what the cube can do just in time to get sucked into the overworld along with a local realtor/zookeeper named Danielle Brooks. Can Steve, Garrett, Henry, Natalie, and Dawn stop Malgisa before her quest for dominance takes over multiple planes of video game existence? While I'm not the biggest fan of Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre, a Minecraft movie works best in those moments that you realize it was directed by the same person, Jared Hess. His eye shows flashes of personality that are often missing from video game movies aimed primarily at children. Scenes in which Black leans into his goofy persona or Momoa allows himself to be the butt of the joke work more often than not. I'll take a movie that misses trying to do some weird stuff over those that don't try at all. It helps the general tenor of a film like this when it feels like the people involved aren't just going through the motions. Turns out a movie like this could use a bit of Nacho Libre flair to spice up what unfolds. Now, what unfolds is some nonsense. There's a point around halfway through when it becomes clear that Henry is the real hero of this piece. I had a flashback to The Last Starfighter, another tale of an outcast who discovers that a video game world is real and that he can save it. At its best, a Minecraft movie reflects the same idea, that video games aren't things that dull the senses but rather give creative people a chance to express themselves and maybe even be a hero. Sadly, a lot of the plotting and associated themes get severely muddled in the back half, where the 5 screenplay credits start to make a little more sense. Despite a few fun set pieces, a Minecraft movie becomes increasingly monotonous and loses its appeal, making it harder to care about what little plot there is. One might argue that you shouldn't come to a Minecraft movie for the storytelling. It's based on a game that responds to what you bring to it, with some people building entire cities, or all of Game of Thrones, in the in-game world while others are happy defending their little huts from zombies on coffee breaks. The limitless creativity inherent in the game hasn't been fully replicated in the movie, which is designed to expand its brand dominance. However, there's just enough inspired heroism in this flick to make people who put the game down years ago circle back to it and build something new. A video game movie that encourages creation instead of just uplifting capitalism. That's a small victory in 2025. I played Minecraft once in my life, boomer vibes, but I've watched my kids play it over the years. It is integral to their childhood, much like Atari was to mine. But I do see the beauty in it and how it fostered creativity in many a kid of the past couple of decades. In a way, Minecraft parked itself into their DNA and probably mine. Even I know what a creeper is. Smiling face. It was only a matter of time before the powers that be would turn this money-making behemoth into a live-action vehicle to make more money. They have the right idea of casting Jack Black as the titular Steve, though I had imagined him to look different, perhaps with a square head, etc. Given all the CGI action expected of this film, which it has an adequate amount of, Jack Black provides an additional jolt of energy like a couple of Red Bulls. Jason Momoa is pretty cheesy as Garrett the Gabbergaman, and the rest of the cast play the typical sidekicks in typical fashion. Perhaps the most enjoyable section is the intro where we see the origin of Steve, which is quite fun. As for a plot, there really isn't one besides the idea of somehow being transported to a realm where you build, craft, and mine to your heart's content. Add a couple of orphans, a real estate agent, and a loser owner of a retro video game store, and you have a Minecraft movie. But that doesn't mean it ain't entertaining. I brought my 2 teenagers to the screening, and it was mostly smiles at the light jokes, cute sheep, cameos from famous YouTubers, and numerous in-jokes/Easter eggs that flew over my head. I found myself pleasantly losing track of time and grateful for a Sunday outing with my 2 boys. Mostly forgettable, but admittedly, an entertaining time nonetheless. It will probably be a box office hit because every kid will see this. And to all the parents of young kids in the universe, surrender and just try to enjoy it. You'll have Jack Black to thank for that. This was such an interesting movie for me to review, not in the least that it has been in devilment hell for 10 years or so, which makes it fascinating to see what was finally produced. But also, this is a film about a video game that I have probably had my second longest relationship with. Every year, I dive back in and build a new Minecraft world from scratch, discovering all the wild changes that have been made since last time. But video game adaptations can be very much hit or miss, and that long of a production period does give me pause. So, to set the scene, one day, a boy really wanted to be a miner, but no kids were allowed. Time went on, and when Steve, Jack Black, became an adult, he ran back into those mines, found a cube and activated a portal to another cube-based world. It was a joy to create until, one day, he discovered a portal to the Nether, ruled by Malgasa, Rachel Howe/Alan Henry, who loves gold and hates creativity. Forced to send his dog fleeing with the cube, the portal remained undiscovered until one day when four weird and different characters, Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison, Jason Momoa, Henry, Sebastian Hansen, Natalie, Emma Myers, and Danielle Brooks, from the town of Chuglass rediscover it. When they step through, they find themselves thrown into a world where everything from the trees to the grass to the sheep are all now cubes. It is a wild world that becomes even more dangerous when the sun goes down. We are going to break down this film into its components, and the first thing I want to talk about is the visuals. From an adaptation perspective, this movie took the Pokemon, Detective Pikachu route, being very faithful with regard to the silhouettes but having a touch of fun with the textures. There is this moment when they step into this world, and you see it in all its glory, and you can't help but smile. The best example of this is the villagers' village under a grand rocky arch. It feels like something you would build in the game when creating in the landscape. The actual effects they use in this film are pretty good because even though a lot of this movie was filmed on a blue screen or the volume, you don't feel the disconnect that you can get. Part of this is because the digital artists were experts at compositing. They also took the time to get the lighting right on set so you feel connected at every stage. A surprising amount of the Minecraft film is actually set in the real world, or as real as one can get, with New Zealand pretending to be a slightly odd Indiana. But that does give us the basis for our human characters, which, unlike what was shown in the first trailer, are essentially quite good. Jason Momoa completely captures that vibe of someone who is inherently good, also very full of themselves, but maybe don't trust him near your fine china. He commits to every moment in the film, and you can't help but connect with the performance. They didn't need to put in that backstory for Henry and Natalie, but I did buy that Sebastian Hansen and Emma Myers were siblings with a supporting relationship, but still one they are working out. I would have liked Danielle Brooks to get a bit more to do, but she is always a delight on screen as the only adult in the proceedings. Jack Black is Jack Black. I mean, they sneak some Kung Fu Panda and School of Rock references into the equation. If you like Jack Black, then you will like him here, but as always, your mileage will vary. The next question is, how do you make a narrative film about a video game that famously does not have a story? Sure, there is a vague lore and game progression, but that is not a story in any absolute sense. Part of this is by showing that you absolutely understand the property that you are adapting, with pitch-perfect references like a pig with a crown. You also do this by having the competing pushes of trying to get everyone home while also trying to stop an invasion from the Nether. These twin goals provide enough tension to keep the story moving, but they are also pitched to a younger audience, so it is not a deep experience. However, even though it is a relatively simple story, it doesn't mean it doesn't take the chance to take some wild swings. One of the main themes is that parents undermining their children's creativity turns them into villains. Also, cowards destroy because creating is hard, and they are lazy. Watching this film is like walking into a house for a kid's party that has been wholly baby-proofed, but they have a horror film on the TV, and there are real swords in the gift bags. One of these wild moments is when a villager escapes to the real world and then gets hit by Vice Principal Marlene's, Jennifer Coolidge, car in what might be the oddest product placement moments I have ever witnessed in film. Usually, I would find it annoying when you cut away from the main story for a subplot that doesn't matter. But here is where they have some of the best jokes in the film, finish, a bunch of cameos, and moments where you sit there wondering how all this happened. However, while there are some completely wild choices, there are some profoundly safe choices that hurt the film. One of these is the music. They make the same mistake as the Super Mario Bros. Movie and Uncharted by not using the music from the game but poorly placed needle drops. The Jack Black songs were fun, but just using Minecraft's soundtrack at the start and end was not enough. In the end, do we recommend a Minecraft movie? If you are someone who is there for the nostalgia, or around 10, then absolutely I would recommend it. The kids in my screening were having a ball from start to finish, and if you are a parent and the school holidays are coming up, then this is a no-brainer. But for a film that is struggling to find a reason for its being there, I am not sure it covered all it needed to do during the runtime. Have you watched a Minecraft movie? Let us know what you thought in the comments below. If you liked a Minecraft movie, we would recommend to you the Super Mario Bros. Movie. The age of clunky, amped up, zoned out, overly literal movies adapted from video games lasted a long time from the very first one, Super Mario Bros., in 1993, stretching on through such duds as Mortal Kombat and Blood Rain and Max Payne and, sorry, fans, the Resident Evil series and the grandiose liquid sludge of Assassin's Creed and, just last year, Borderlands. So in a way that era didn't end, the potential to turn a video game into a bad movie never goes away. Why would it? Video games are the anti-movies. They have characters and worlds and narratives and action and fantasy and spectacle, but they're ultimately a post-psychological form for a post-psychological age. They lack the heartbeat that, good, movies have. Over the years, though, lessons have been learned. Overtly pandering strategies have been abandoned. Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One, while not based on a video game, had the visual wizardry to put you right in the gamer's seat. And 2 years ago, offering a bookend to a form that had kicked off so wrongly, the Super Mario Bros. Movie was pure mutating eyeball-tickling fun, a fantastic video game movie that was also a nicely rounded kid's fairy tale. It demonstrated that animation was probably always going to be the key to bringing video games to life on screen. It hit the dazzle and emotion sweet spot. And it set the bar. A Minecraft movie isn't nearly as good as the Super Mario Bros. Movie. It's not even as good as Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, which, given the latter's 50-year-old pedigree, might be described as the analog version of a video game movie. A Minecraft movie is just a flaky, spirited, low hijinks quest comedy that plops a crew of actors down into the overworld, the epicenter of the Minecraft universe, where they've arrived by coming through a portal that looks like it's made of pulsating blue slime crystals. It's very 1980s, that portal, and the whole movie has a retro cheeseball flavor, even though Minecraft wasn't created until 2011. At first, we register how hard the actors are working to make it all look like a breezy screw-loose adventure. Whatever your feelings about Jack Black, I'm mostly a superfan. No one can ever say that he phones it in. He's 55 now, with a grey-white beard as big and boisterous as the rest of him, and though he might strike you as a little long in the tooth to still be doing his happy-dazed stoner line readings, he invests them with so much conviction in a Minecraft movie. He simply will not deliver a line of dialogue straight that he spikes the film right along. He plays Steve, who always yearned to be a miner and wound up falling in love with the overworld, a place where you can literally create anything that pops into your head, even though it will always come out as the cubic version of itself. The place is a surrealist Lord of the Rings alt-world paradise that's also as angular, in its billowy way, as the world of Lego, because it's made of voxels, which is Minecraft's fancy word for blocks. In the overworld, there are blockish snow-capped mountains, blockish bumblebees, blockish pink sheep, blockish shrubs and trees, blockish flowers, blockish ducks, a blockish wolf, blockish skeleton archer warriors, blockish baby Frankenstein zombies, a whole army of them, blockish buildings that look like gingerbread houses gone brutalist, and, in the underworld known as the Nether, blockish pigs, who have blockish boar incisors and are done up in a way that suggests a Mad Max biker horde. Meets the Dark Crystal, all of them slaves to Malgisa, Rachel House, the evil British swine queen, who has kept Steve imprisoned in a dungeon. Minecraft, in real life, is what's known as a sandbox game. Like Roblox, it creates a place for the player to invent things as much as it offers a goal of victory. And so the challenge of making a movie out of Minecraft is, How do you create a story we have a stake in if the whole point of the world is simply to hang out in it? The producers of a Minecraft movie attempted to resolve this dilemma by handing the assignment of directing the film to Jared Hess, who is still best known for Napoleon Dynamite, 2004. He has had a few quirky indie follow-up films and has worked in television, but watching a self-consciously absurdist filmmaker like Hess take control of a blockbuster monster machine like Minecraft made me think, at moments, of episode 1 of The Studio, in which the hip director Nicholas Stoller is recruited to somehow create a movie out of the Kool-Aid franchise. Watching a Minecraft movie, we're always aware that the story is something that's been grafted onto the world, and that we don't have much of a dramatic stake in it, that it's just the film's way of cobbling together something that works. Which, in its way, is very Minecraft. Yet Hess brings something likable to a Minecraft movie. He's a genial camp satirist who knows how to invest not taking anything seriously with a flaked-out conviction. A Minecraft movie never stops goofing on itself, and that's appealing. As a movie star, Jack Black had a hand in inventing this school of air-quote daffiness, but the surprise of a Minecraft movie is how much Jason Momoa gets onto the self-skewering doofus kitsch wavelength. He plays Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison, who was a video game champion in 1989 and now runs a corner store called Game Over World. It's stuffed with old video screens and vintage gamer knickknacks, which is teetering toward bankruptcy. Garrett is a relic, maybe a cliché, but I was amazed at how much Momoa, in a pink fringed jacket and heavy metal locks, sinks into Garrett's blissed-out cluelessness, his bedazzled narcissism hanging by a thread of desperate cool. Garrett and Steve may be overly similar personality types, but that's what makes the movie click, the way they mesh and fight like rival dude brothers. And the plot? Do I have to go there? There's a glowing blue orb, the orb of dominance, which fits into a box, known as the Earth Crystal. Plopping one of these things into the other, in a kind of Avengers on Happy Pills way, will allow the characters to defeat the pig demons, and also to return to Earth. They already have the orb in their possession, they need to journey to the Woodland Mansion to retrieve the crystal. There is, of course, a crafting table, in which objects, or metal pieces, are placed on it and you bonk them with a hammer, and voila! They turn, with medieval alchemy, into a brand new object, often a weapon. As fun as these scenes are, the film could have done more with the mutating magic of it all. That's where you wish Jared Hess were less of a comedian and more of a technological showman. There are two teenagers on hand, Henry, Sebastian Hansen, and Natalie, Emma Myers, an orphaned brother and sister who, despite their prominence, don't have much heft as characters. And there's a fish out of water subplot in which one of the overworld's blockish pacifist vegetarian monks, a silent dude with a monobrow, winds up traveling through the portal, landing on Earth, and going on a date with Vice Principal Marlene, played by Jennifer Coolidge, with her over-the-top diva broadness. Some of this is amusing, but like the rest of a Minecraft movie, it never feels like it matters. Yet it's no insult to say that, in this case, that may be more true than not to the spirit of a video game that turns life into a blockhead version of itself. If you ever find that you've fallen asleep in a big-shot Hollywood story meeting, and you need something to say that makes it look like you've actually been paying close attention, you could do worse than this. Whose story is this again? This question, who is the true focal point of the adventure being pitched, seems both central to any film and also one of the easiest things to lose track of in the detailing. And so, a Minecraft movie. Whose story is this? Is it Jack Black's, the lovable loner who finds himself drawn inside the world of Minecraft and loves it and thrives in there, but loses the doodad that allows him to travel back and forth between worlds, and ends up missing his pet wolf very badly? Is it Jason Momoa's, a kind of Billy Mitchell knockoff, a former pro gamer whose business is failing and who finds himself on the cusp of having to admit that he's actually a loser? Is it the young family, Emma Myers and Sebastian Eugene Hansen, two siblings who are trying to start over in a new town after the death of their parents? Is it Danielle Brooks, a part-time estate agent and woman of many side hustles who finds herself trying to help the siblings. All of these people have one thing in common: they all get thrown into the world of Minecraft, where they must find the doodad they need to escape, fighting evil piglins, navigating the nether, learning to both mine and craft and work as a team. Whose story is it? It's hard to tell. This is a film in which there's simultaneously quite a lot going on and also not very much. It feels convoluted, but then you write it all down and it's very simple. We're stuck inside this place, let's try to get out again. So how is it? A few genuinely lovely moments aside, one involving knives, one involving Jack Black in diamond armor, a Minecraft movie is firmly stuck in the cinematic genre of high spirits, a genre defined by a lot of energy and goodwill but little in the way of genuine emotion. This is an interesting genre because, despite its innate likability, nobody actually chooses it at the start of a project. Rather, high spirits is where you end up when something isn't working properly. Hudson Hawk is high spirits all the way down. I would argue The Fifth Element is high spirits too. I like both these films a lot, possibly too much, even, but I'd struggle to argue that their creators truly wanted them to turn out as they did. Like second-tier gangsters, high spirits films often have moxie, but not a lot else. A Minecraft movie, which has 3 names listed under story by and 5 names underwritten by, seems to have at least realized that high spirits was where it was heading early on in proceedings. The fundamental problem, before we get to the really fundamental problem in a bit, is that it's a film about turning up in a magical world, but the real world, as the film depicts it, is so loosely defined and silly that the magical world doesn't feel like that much of a departure. What's Minecraft when the real world has high school students making functioning jetpacks in art class and where Jennifer Coolidge is the school principal? What's Minecraft when Jason Momoa is already rattling around in a pink leather jacket and driving a T-Bird and giving out garbled life advice, and where the local economy is based around a potato chip business with a 10-foot-tall potato mascot stuck to the outside of the factory? The film's solution to this tonal problem is to rely on the classic 3-act structure as a kind of straitjacket to keep everything in place. A Minecraft movie starts out by whizzing through an entire Minecraft movie's worth of narrative in the first 10 minutes as it tells the story of how Jack Black originally ended up in the overworld. Then we hit credits and a very traditional there and back again story unfolds as a bunch of new weirdos are thrown into this world of blocks and talking pigs. This structure keeps the movie zipping along, but it also makes it alarmingly predictable. You probably don't go to a Minecraft movie for narrative shocks and postmodern surprises, but this is a film whose narrative beats you can call out well in advance, with surprising granularity. What's in the film's favor? Casting, for one thing. Jennifer Coolidge might be villainously underused, but absolutely everyone on board is a pro at making things brisk and charming. I will watch Jack Black in anything, even if here he's basically relegated to being an endless tutorial. The younger actors are great. Danielle Brooks brings a sketched-in part to life, and Momoa? Jason Momoa is genuinely fantastic in this film. He gives a wonderfully soulful performance as a difficult but ultimately decent man-child, and if there's any real emotion in here it lies with him. I left the cinema slightly in love with him. What else works? Well, there is a lot of Minecraft in this Minecraft movie, so much so that the audience I saw the film with would gasp and applaud when a familiar item appeared. Piglins. TNT. Enders. This is a Minecraft film that has a crafting table in it, that tells its audiences about recipes, and which has a joke about the swiftness of the game's day-night cycle. Sometimes its take on the game looks a bit odd, granted. The idea seems to be Minecraft shapes but with realistic textures slapped on top. Landscapes look fine with this approach, while gear looks weird and the villagers are genuine horrors. Their flesh, to steal a line from The Big Sleep's General Sternwood, is too much like the flesh of men. He was talking about orchids because he was yet to see a Minecraft movie. But here's the real problem. There's a lot of Minecraft iconography here, but aside from a bit of weak chatter about the nature of creativity, there isn't a lot of Minecraft's true spirit or ethos. People make stuff from Minecraft, mine blocks and fight zombies when night falls, but by sticking so closely to this kind of ultra-traditional 3-act adventure film structure, the very thing that teams like Naughty Dog have made a business of translating into big-budget cinematic games, the film throws in with the kind of standard campaign narrative that Minecraft the actual game exists in contrast to. Minecraft is explorative, speculative, open-ended, something to get lost in and get surprised by. A Minecraft movie has a climactic battle and a mid-credits scene. Strip away the enders and the diamond armor and the story could just about fit with something like Uncharted. I know, making a film that truly captures the spirit of Minecraft as it's actually played sounds incredibly difficult, and the solution that this movie lands on offers a lot of moments of recognition and some wonderful actors elevating the basic material. This is a Minecraft movie, after all. What makes the film click is its commitment to tone. This isn't a self-conscious adaptation embarrassed by its pixelated roots. It's a full-throttle embrace of blocky chaos. The live-action and CGI blend is surprisingly seamless, striking a balance between stylized absurdity and immersive world-building. The overworld pops with color and texture, mobs look authentically lifted from the game, and even the small details, the square sunsets, the inventory sounds, the unmistakable geometry of everything feel handled with care. Jason Momoa brings brawler energy, clearly having fun with the physicality of the world. He swings axes, barrels into mobs, and commits fully to the heightened reality. Emma Myers grounds the team with sharp instincts and believable reactions, while Danielle Brooks injects emotional weight without derailing the film's pace. She finds the heart inside the chaos, giving the adventure real stakes. As Steve, Black goes all in. Not ironic. Not restrained. All in. He plays the role like a cross between an overconfident survival coach and a chaotic bard who just discovered crafting mechanics for the first time. The performance is big, loud, and completely dialed to the film's wavelength. There's a musical number involving lava and poultry that should absolutely not work, and yet, somehow, it does. Black understands the assignment. If the world is absurd, you don't tone it down. You amplify it. The humor is rapid fire and unapologetically goofy. Not every joke lands, and there are moments where the pacing wobbles under its own enthusiasm. But the film rarely stalls. When it misses, it moves on quickly. When it hits hard, usually because it leans into visual gags or game-based logic that longtime players will immediately recognize. Visually, the production design deserves credit. The film avoids turning the Minecraft aesthetic into a bland CGI smear. Instead, it preserves the chunky identity of the game while layering in depth and scale. Explosions feel tactile. The Ender Dragon has presence. And the environments maintain that unmistakable crafted look rather than smoothing it into something generic. What elevates the movie beyond novelty is its underlying message. At its core, a Minecraft movie is about creativity under pressure. It celebrates collaboration, experimentation, and the willingness to fail forward. That thematic through-line keeps the spectacle from feeling hollow. Beneath the chaos, there's genuine warmth about building something together even if it's out of blocks. Is it redefining cinema? No. Is it occasionally uneven? Sure. But it's never lazy. The energy is constant, the performances are committed, and the film clearly understands the community it's speaking to. It doesn't talk down to fans, nor does it alienate newcomers. It strikes a surprisingly accessible middle ground. For longtime players, there's joy in recognition. For casual viewers, there's enough character-driven adventure to stay engaged. And for anyone who doubted this could work at all, the film makes a strong case that embracing weirdness is sometimes the smartest move. Silly, stylish, and unexpectedly heartfelt, a Minecraft movie proves that even a world built from blocks can deliver a fully realized cinematic ride provided everyone involved is willing to go full creative mode. I then had a job opportunity that was supposed to be a huge fall through at the end of 2024, which left me unexpectedly unemployed. I crunched my finances hard to see what the situation was, and realized I was in a privileged enough situation where I could take some time off. So I did and took my time job hunting. During this time I was really focusing on the blog, watching a ton of movies, reading books, and focusing on developing new skills that I could keep adding to the resume. It also helps that I make a few pennies here and there from the display ads on my site. Ever since I lost my car, a college student totaled it last year, and because I've been working remotely, I haven't purchased a new car yet. I haven't really been going to the movies physically in person. I used to have AMC A-list and go to the movie once or twice a week, but now I tend to just use my streaming platforms and Canopy through my library. I didn't plan on seeing Minecraft originally, although I was curious about what it was like from the buzz I was hearing about on the vast expanse of the internet. Then one day my friend called me and asked if I was free that evening. I happened to be, so we geared up to go to Bengi's in Middle River, Maryland. This is a drive-in movie theater where you either sit in your car, or bring lawn chairs to sit right next to it. At the time of typing this it's like $12 a person to go in a car, which is dirt cheap for going to a double feature like this. I'm used to AMC charging like $20 and up per person just for one movie. We actually showed up to a double feature, and Minecraft was the first movie. The other was Sinners, which was a tonal whiplash, but also a seriously good film. This, on the other hand, spurs more complicated feelings. This film begins with Steve, who, as a childhood, dreamed of going into a mine. He grows up, becomes an adult, and has a terrible job selling doorknobs, but he's going to achieve that dream no matter what. It's in the mine he finds the Orb of Dominance and an earth crystal, and when he puts them together, it transports him to the overworld of Minecraft. The overworld is everything he dreamed of, as he can literally build whatever he wants as he wants it, but when he finds another portal, it leads him to the Nether. There, the piglins live there, and the leader Malgisa wants the Orb of Dominance. Steve has a revelation that the orb would allow her to take over the overworld and maybe the real world, so he insists his dog Dennis take it and hide it with the earth crystal under his bed in the real world. An unknown amount of years or time passes, and we meet Garrett, or the Garbage Man. He was once a champion at a video game back in the 80s, but now he just runs a video game store in Idaho. The town's known as Chuglass and is famous for its potato chips, but on this particular day, Garrett has a mission. He buys the items from Steve's old house in attempts of finding treasure, but instead acquires the orb and earth crystal. He takes it back to the store, and we meet our next characters, Natalie and Henry. Their mother died recently, and Natalie is taking care of her high school-aged brother. When they roll up to their new house, they meet Dawn, their real estate agent. She's a bit eccentric and has a petting zoo in her car, alpaca and all, and Natalie sends Henry off to school the next day with a tater tot pizza to impress everyone. He befriends Garrett on the way there, and Garrett takes the pizza and offers to be Henry's life coach. Henry heads off to school, then gets himself almost expelled when he builds a jetpack that crushes the potato chip factory Natalie is now working at. To avoid getting expelled on his first day, he calls up Garrett, offers to pay him money to pose as his uncle, and Garrett agrees. Good thing his principal just got a divorce and is a hot mess express, so she's charmed by him and lets Henry off easy. They go to the video game store, Henry puts together the orb and earth crystal, and the duo heads off to the mine, as the combined materials lead them there. Dawn and Natalie start hunting them down, as Natalie freaks out over Henry being missing. In the mine, all four of them find the portal to the overworld and enter it. They have no idea what to do there, but when night falls, Henry quickly learns how to build as the zombies and skeletons start attacking them. As all of this happens, a villager wanders into the real world and falls in love with the principal after she hits him with her car. Malgisa learns the orb and earth crystal are back and frees Steve to get them for her. Big mistake, as he joins forces with his fellow humans, saves them from the zombies, and then shows them the village nearby to get materials. Garrett accidentally broke the earth crystal at night, and they have to go to the woodland mansion in order to find a new one. At the village he shows them how to craft new objects, but Malguisa sends her army into town to get the orb from them. Natalie and Don are separated from the boys, who flee towards the woodland mansion. Good thing they find Dennis in the woods, befriend the dog, and he starts sniffing out his owner's trail. Malguisa decides to send her greatest warrior to them, who finds the boys in Steve's diamond mine. The trio arrives at the woodland mansion, and while Garrett and Steve distract the main guards, Henry sneaks into the back and steals the earth crystal. He also defeats an ender in there, but on their way out, Malguisa's guards overpower them. Garrett seems to sacrifice himself, and she gets a hold of the orb. Natalie, Don, and Dennis save Henry and Steve, but Malguisa is planning to take over the overworld and block out the sun. They quickly create an army of golems to fight the piglins. Don befriends a ton of wolves and dogs, and while a grand fight ensues, Henry makes it to the orb. As Garrett arrives to save him, he uses his ender pearl to get the orb and stop Malguisa's plan. With the sun restored in the overworld, Malguisa's army turns into zombies and dies. While they prepare to go home after that, Steve insists on staying here in the overworld, but then decides to go with them. Together, the group develops a video game. Natalie opens a self-defense studio, while Don creates a zoo with Dennis. Henry goes back to school and makes his jetpack, while Steve and Garrett work at the video game store and make it into a successful business. I describe this movie as peak brain rot. It's genuinely one of the worst movies I've seen in a while, but you have to come into movies like this with no expectations. It is, after all, a movie about Minecraft. So if you treat this movie like a camp movie and not seriously at all, you can have a great time with it. I imagine a wild audience would actually be more fun too, leading to scenarios where people are hollering at the screen and expecting to have a good time as they watch the chaos unfold. But none of the characters have actual depth, and the story itself is something we've seen before. And if I'm going to be honest, that's okay. It's a movie that isn't meant to be deep, and I accept it for what it is. Sometimes we need to watch movies that make us laugh out loud in delirious moments. So go see it if you want to and haven't already. Just reading about a movie doesn't suffice in the grand scheme of things. The most disappointing aspect of a Minecraft movie, directed by Jared Hess, Napoleon Dynamite, Nacho Libre, isn't that it's born out of an existing IP. We live in a world of low-effort reboots, unnecessary remakes, and movies operating as extensions of corporate brands. Another one of these gluttonous projects is hardly surprising. What makes a Minecraft movie so dispiriting is how it fails to spark the imagination, betraying a core tenet of the game on which it's based. Minecraft was released in 2011 by Swedish developer Marcus Persson, who wanted to create a game that prioritized world building. He was inspired by games that let players toil within a digital landscape and choose their own adventures. Minecraft has an unfussy design, and its pixelated aesthetic and simple color scheme give the game a Lego-like texture. A player's labor and quests are typically soundtracked by ambient music created by the German composer and Minecraft sound designer C418. All elements of the game foster imaginative thinking and experimental play. A Minecraft movie struggles to maintain this ethos because it lacks a clear sense of its own stakes and intended audience. The film, written by Chris Bowman, Hubble Palmer, Neil Widener, Gavin James, and Chris Gauletta, from a story by Alison Schroeder, Bowman, and Palmer, swings between appeasing the existing fan base and courting a more general audience. These goals aren't mutually exclusive. Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves accomplished both 2 years ago, but a Minecraft movie struggles to find the sweet spot between those camps or land the right tone. The ironic bits and poignant moments rarely gel, and a focus on redundant innuendos takes precedence over character development and a meaningful storyline. These weaknesses make it hard to appreciate the zany set pieces or invest in the ragtag characters at the heart of the story. Our protagonists deserve better because their creative spirits power this whole enterprise. A Minecraft movie opens with a mouthful of a prologue that quickly establishes Steve, Jack Black, and his universe. We learn that the sandbox game helped the doorknob salesman combat the drudgery of adulthood by reconnecting with his creativity. It also introduced him to his best friend, a wolf he tames and christens Dennis. Steve's world hums along infused with glee until he stumbles upon a hell-like dimension called the Nether. Malgisa, an entertainingly evil Rachel House, a greedy piglin who hates joy and creativity, rules over this world. She kidnaps Steve and plans to take over his universe by extracting all of its resources. But our clever crafter has Dennis hide the orb of dominance in the human world, thereby delaying Malgisa's plans for multidimensional conquest. Many months or maybe years later, Garrett, Jason Momoa, a former championship gamer, small business owner and frequent auction sale bidder, buys Steve's possessions from the crafter's abandoned storage unit. Garrett is under the impression that a valuable game lies among Steve's belongings and the money from that sale could help save his failing arcade store. But the game doesn't exist and all Garrett finds is the orb, whose value he doesn't yet understand. Across town on the same day, Henry, Sebastian Hansen, and his older sister Natalie, Emma Myers, move into Steve's former home. When we happen upon them, their realtor Danielle Brooks, in a thankless role, is showing them around. She's also telling them about her multiple side hustles. It's tough to make a living with just one job in this economy. In the throes of grief, Natalie and Henry have moved to the fictional town of Chuglass, Idaho to fulfill their deceased mother's wishes. Natalie gets a job as a social media manager for the potato chip factory and Henry must suffer through the humiliating rituals of a new school. After a group of kids and his art teacher, Hiram Garcia, mock his creativity, Henry tries to save his reputation by building a jetpack from everyday materials. The plan fails and his invention damages the potato chip factory, landing Henry in Vice Principal Marlene's office. But all the school administrator, played by the reliably funny Jennifer Coolidge, can talk about is her recent divorce and her worries about finding love again. The setup is plenty packed and more than a little contrived, but it gets us where we need to be. Henry eventually happens on Garrett's store and the two bond quickly. They also decide to follow the orb and end up in an abandoned mine shaft that leads to Steve's universe. Natalie and Don are right behind them as the frantic big sister searches for her spacey younger brother. The adventure begins and Henry, whose creativity has him ostracized in the human world, it's the ADS after all, becomes empowered over the Minecraft universe. He has an intuitive sense of how things work, and it's fun to see him figure out the lay of the land. For Minecraft novices like this critic, a Minecraft movie succeeds when showing off the game's potential and championing the value of maintaining a childlike wonder in a bleak world. The production design, by Grant Major, and effects, supervised by Dan Lemon, reinforce this sentiment on a visual level. Steve's world, populated by villagers during the day and haunted by untamed wolves and zombies at night, is sleekly and beautifully rendered. Eventually, this unlikely crew runs into Steve himself, who secretly made a deal with Malgisa to retrieve the orb in exchange for Dennis' life. Steve doesn't want to turn his world over to, a capitalist pig, but he also can't lose his best friend. The stakes of this exchange should be higher considering all Steve has to lose, but a Minecraft movie never strays beyond the surface. Black's performance leans on a lot of what made movies like School of Rock entertaining and the actor even indulges in a song or two here. His high-octane style and brash physical comedy complement Momoa's take on Garrett, a bumbling championship gamer living in the shadow of his glory days. Their friendship, initially competitive and then endearing, takes center stage. But although entertaining, it also highlights how underdeveloped everyone else is. While Hansen gets a few moments in the spotlight, Myers and Brooks are completely wasted in their roles. Coolidge's storyline, involving a villager who wanders into the real world, is genuinely funny but also similarly thin. We've come to expect so little of corporate IP projects that the fact a Minecraft movie is uninspired won't matter to many people, whether Minecraft loyalists or uninitiated crafters, but it should. A certain kind of creativity and imaginative thinking is atrophying with the advent of artificial intelligence. 2 years ago when I reviewed Barbie, I lamented about a future where all our humanist lessons come from corporate toy makers. That feels truer now than ever. 4 misfits are suddenly pulled through a mysterious portal into a bizarre cubic wonderland that thrives on imagination. To get back home they'll have to master this world while embarking on a quest with an unexpected expert crafter. Based on the titular 2011 video game that I of course know about but haven't played, this movie could have turned out much worse than it did. They at least tried to develop a storyline and a lived-in world, and they mostly succeeded at it. This is the type of frenetic, silly, and dumb blockbuster that is in line with the Super Mario Bros. Movie in its style and tone. As somebody who appreciated that flick for what it is, I also managed to dig this goofy movie. It's certainly messy and fast-paced to the extreme, but I was engaged throughout, which is the most important thing for a blockbuster to do. Jason Momoa was so well cast in the role of Garbage Man. This man-child obsessed with everything 80s was the most fun character in the entire film, and Momoa was very charismatic and suitably goofy in the role. He should always perform these comedic and buffoonish characters. Jack Black was another standout as this guy obsessed with the world of Minecraft. His singing skills are showcased beautifully here, and that final number was a whole lot of fun. I loved his character and he made me laugh numerous times, but I wished for the two to have shared more screen time together. Jennifer Coolidge was expectedly amusing in a small, but delightful role. Danielle Brooks was wasted on a forgettable and underutilized character. As for the 2 kids, the girl was pretty uninteresting and forgettable, while the boy was your standard family movie kid protagonist with no discernible qualities of his own. A Minecraft movie is at its best when focusing on its world building and silly villains. Those pig bad guys were absolutely hilarious. The main villain made me laugh out loud numerous times due to her quirky line delivery and that final gag that was just hysterical. The other creatures were all pretty much underdeveloped, but I found their designs and a seeming lack of purpose quite memorable. The adventurous elements worked for me, and the same goes for the world building. The stocky design was both funny and it fitted the source material at hand. The sheep was amusing, the zombies were ridiculous, and how the characters made things out of these blocks was quite interesting, though nowhere near as imaginative as the storytelling device could have been. The score, cinematography, and production design were just serviceable, but the overall effects were solid. The humor was childlike in the best way possible, and the silly nature to it made it wildly enjoyable and charming. Sometime after siblings Henry, Sebastian Hansen, and Natalie, Emma Myers, inadvertently discover the overworld, where everything from buildings to environments to animals to food to other random objects are block-shaped. The former uses his child genius creativity to instantly start building elaborate constructions, as one does in the mostly plotless, sandbox video game Minecraft. But his sister struggles. She criticizes him for being a regular screw-up in the real world, a heat-of-the-moment outburst she immediately regrets, while proclaiming that none of this makes any sense. Her character practically feels like a vessel for those of us coming into director Jared Hess' a Minecraft movie with minimal exposure. However, despite never having played the game, I know one thing through cultural osmosis: it is intended to encourage and foster creativity in children and teenagers, which Jared Hess understands. That's not to say the movie is any good, but getting it is a rarity regarding video game adaptations. It's wonderful that this is an adaptation in conversation with not only why the games are popular, but that parents, in the case of this film, a slightly older sister looking after her younger brother while still grieving the loss of their mother, wrongfully assume that it's a waste of time and rotting their brains, failing to realize that the game is entirely built on imagination and whatever the player wants it to be. The punishment of removing or deleting a child's Minecraft world is admittedly an over-the-top punishment that not only refuses to engage with the game itself but also with what they are getting from the world-building experience. It's an instant, permanent removal of something unique, most likely impossible to duplicate. Hence, the shattering feeling of losing an entire world. Sure, it's digital, but was lovingly put together by a human. Jared Hess unfortunately doesn't necessarily get to do much with this, as one imagines a gun held to he and his overcrowded screenwriting teams, Chris Bowman, Hubble Palmer, Neil Widener, Gavin James, and Chris Gauletta, heads forcing them to shove Easter eggs and references down viewers' throats in every single CGI, green screen to hell and back image. This is mainly done through Jack Black portraying Steve, the default avatar from the game's original launch. In games like these, players are encouraged to customize and project their personality onto the character, which obnoxiously amounts to that star playing himself, shouting out locations, objects, and enemy types with the demented energy of someone who just got done chugging 5 Red Bulls and is yelling all of this into your ear at 7 a.m. on a Monday when your alarm for work has gone off. Perhaps that sounds like a hypercritical complaint after acknowledging an individual's identity is meant to be grafted onto the avatar, but Jack Black is insufferable here. This is an embarrassing use of star power, serving as nothing more than a means to get a cheap pop out of the fans, which is especially fitting terminology since there is a scene that takes place in a wrestling ring. Everyone else will likely sit there dumbfounded. Surprisingly, they won't necessarily be confused. Most items, gear, and tools are self-explanatory, but speechless at the excessive depths of fan service. At the same time, a couple of interesting characters and ideas are ignored. Other characters include Jason Momoa's real-world faded superstar, legendary arcade gamer Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison, a cocky dimwit facing foreclosure on his gaming store. Through some chance interactions with Henry, he also ends up in the overworld, hoping to find some treasures to solve his financial woes. Initially, it's also amusing that the character is a skilled cooperative gamer who routinely messes up inside a fantasy world while failing to work together. However, like most aspects of a Minecraft movie, this aspect is worn down and tiring. Similarly, this is an action-packed adventure with a number of explosions on par with a Michael Bay film, except they rarely look visually exciting here since the bright nature of the world and commercial-like photography causes every image to appear fake with washed-out colors. There is strong attention to detail regarding the aesthetics and designs, but this is otherwise a hideous film. One can't help but wonder what could have been done using more practical effects. There is no wonderment or movie magic here, with no suspension of disbelief that everyone didn't spend several hours a day in front of a green screen. Once in a while, there is a moderately entertaining sequence, such as a chase in a minecart that runs off a special type of energy, but it's often weightless and doesn't pop. Rounding out the set of main characters is Dawn, a real estate agent, settling Henry and Natalie into their new home. Struggling to pay the bills, she works numerous jobs, including one working with animals, which is handy when finding herself in the overworld. She is also a consistently funny presence and the only one not overdoing their role into flat-out annoyance. Together, they must search for a magical object to reopen a portal that will take them home, while aiding Steve in a war against the Netherworld's evil pig race, led by their leader, Malgisa, a voice-over performance by Rachel House. Speaking of Steve, his basic origins as a real-world person and years in the overworld could have been an entire movie alone. Thankfully, it isn't, because Jack Black is already irritating enough here. Still, it goes to show the lengths to which a Minecraft movie goes in cramming in as much as possible, with zero consideration as to what it serves in the context of a narrative. Unsurprisingly, a Minecraft movie's most inspired moments involve creativity, mainly through using materials to craft wacky weapons such as a tater-tot gun or bucket nunchucks. Despite Jared Hess, and maybe one of the 5 screenwriters, showing a fundamental understanding of the game, it's a shame the film is predominantly concerned with fan service and abrasively loud energy from its stars that comes across as desperately begging viewers to care. It mostly chooses laziness over imagination, directly insulting everything Minecraft stands for. It's not easy adapting a video game into a film, especially one like Minecraft, which famously lacks a predefined story or characters beyond the player's imagination. And yet, here we are with a Minecraft movie, a live-action/CGI hybrid directed by Jared Hess, Napoleon Dynamite, and headlined by Jason Momoa and Jack Black. The premise is simple and suitably chaotic. A group of 4 misfit teens, including Emma Myers and Sebastian Hansen, are mysteriously transported into the pixelated overworld of Minecraft, where they must team up with a grizzled old Steve, Jack Black, to find a way home and save the world from a piglin warlord. It's the kind of story that tries to stitch together nostalgic gameplay references with coming-of-age beats and big, effects-heavy set pieces. Jack Black, unsurprisingly, is the film's standout. His performance as a weary, ex-doorknob salesman version of Steve somehow works, quirky and oddly heartfelt. It's the kind of role Black can ground with humor and pathos even when the film around him wobbles. Unfortunately, the rest of the cast struggles to find footing. Despite being made up of generally likable and talented actors, their characters are flat and their arcs barely register. This feels less like a performance issue and more like a script that didn't give them much to work with. The writing, while peppered with clever nods to in-game mechanics, is mostly thin and scattershot. To be fair, maybe this was always going to be a tough assignment. Minecraft has no inherent plot, so any film adaptation was bound to feel either too far removed or too contrived. Hess and the team lean heavily into silliness, and while some audiences, particularly younger viewers and die-hard fans, might enjoy the ride, it never quite lands emotionally or tonally. The visuals are energetic, if a bit overwhelming, and there are fun cameos from YouTubers and Minecraft royalty that fans will appreciate. But beneath the fan service and kinetic energy, the film lacks narrative cohesion. In the end, a Minecraft movie is a strange mix of creative ambition and structural mess. It's not without its moments, mostly thanks to Black, but it's hard to shake the feeling that the film never really figured out what it wanted to be. I'm not even sure what I wanted from it, but I know I didn't find it here. Somewhere in the pixelated sprawl of a Minecraft movie lies the ghost of a good idea, if not quite a fully crafted narrative. What starts as a celebration of creativity and self-expression ends up feeling like the cinematic equivalent of digging straight down, bold, chaotic, and frequently regrettable. Directed by Jared Hess, trying to recapture the offbeat energy of Napoleon Dynamite, the film gathers a party of misfits and flings them into the game's blocky overworld. There's Henry, Sebastian Hansen, and Natalie, Emma Myers, siblings seemingly generated by the game's character Randomizer, estate agent Don, Danielle Brooks, whose presence feels like the punchline to a setup no one remembered to tell, and Jason Momoa's Garrett, the garbage man Garrison, a character so absurdly out of sync with the setting he could have wandered in from Ready Player One. Once inside, they encounter Steve, yes, that Steve, brought to life with droll, deadpan precision by Jack Black, who somehow turns the game's blank slate avatar into the most grounded figure in the entire film. The antagonist, Malgisa, is a piglin with an axe to grind against creativity itself, the very personification of Netflix's cancellation algorithm, played by Rachel House with delicious menace and more intensity than the laid-back approach she usually brings to everything. Malgisa is a villain with charisma, even if the script keeps her separate from our heroes too much. If the aim was to pull off what the Lego Movie did, inject heartfelt satire into a toy box franchise, then Minecraft is still stuck at the building blocks stage. Hess offers slapstick pig chases, lava parkour, and a climactic battle that plays like a creative mode fever dream. There's plenty of sugar rush spectacle, and kids familiar with the source material will likely be dazzled. But there's little beneath the surface, and audience members unfamiliar with the game itself may find themselves quietly checking the film's inventory for missed opportunities. To its credit, the world looks the part. The film commits fully to the chunky aesthetic, resisting the temptation to smooth it over for mainstream appeal. Action scenes are coherent and peppered with familiar in-game mechanics, redstone traps, enchanted gear, even a suspiciously convenient creeper or two. But when it reaches for emotional resonance, it thuds like a dropped anvil. The talk of collaboration and imagination is earnest enough, but it's delivered with all the subtlety of a zombie in full daylight. Momoa hurls himself at the role with wide-eyed glee, his presence equal parts action hero and punchline. He's clearly having a blast, as is Black, whose Steve becomes an accidental voice of reason in a world gone bonkers. Individually, they carry the film through its lumpier sections, but together their energies are too similar, and instead of amplifying each other, there's an odd kind of friction that diminishes both. The overworld may be the place for boundless creativity, but it's not quite big enough for Momoa and Black to coexist. Ultimately, a Minecraft movie is more creeper than keeper, liable to explode in flashes of energy before crumbling back into formula. It may have built a staggering box office out of nostalgia and curiosity, but unless Mojang finds a story worth telling rather than a list of references to tick off, this is a franchise at risk of respawning into mediocrity. As someone who has never played Minecraft the game, and is only vaguely familiar with its building premise, to say there was a major detachment, and perhaps an unenthusiasm, towards a Minecraft movie would be an understatement. But in that uninitiated mentality is perhaps the perfect embodiment to review such a film as this, as I'm looking at Jared Hess's feature completely objectively, away from the sheen of fandom and simply as a patron wondering, what the hell is, in fact, a Minecraft movie? The answer, shockingly, is that it's a lot of fun. Absurdist, nonsensical, random fun that very much speaks to the comedic temperament Hess has demonstrated across his previous, divisive efforts: Napoleon Dynamite, Nacho Libre, and Masterminds. It's a film that takes the simplest of premises, four misfits enter a magic portal, shenanigans ensue, and dials up the lunacy to 11, peppering in more than its share of Easter eggs for the devoted fans, many of which I was privy to during and after the screening itself, but maintaining a level of accessible humor for those willing to go along with it all. "This place makes no sense," is a phrase uttered by one of our travelers, and it's the perfect summation of the Minecraft world. But given that it's based off of a video game, one where its players can discover and extract raw materials, craft tools and items, and build structures, earthworks, and machines, a little bit of grace can certainly be extended towards screenwriters Chris Bowman, Hubble Palmer, Neil Widener, Gavin James, and Chris Gauletta, given that they managed to make something of a narrative around such a premise. The aforementioned four misfits that are at the core of the narrative are brother/sister duo Henry and Natalie, Sebastian Hansen and Emma Myers, their eccentric real estate agent Don, Danielle Brooks, and has-been, 1980s video game legend Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison, Jason Momoa, who, through situational plot steps, are thrust together in the throes of navigational curiosity. In the opening 10 minutes of the film, which are arguably its most chaotic, we're given all the backstory necessary to catch us up to speed when we meet Steve, Jack Black, playing for the back of the room with every theatrical body movement, a lonely, expert crafter who has found himself in the Minecraft world through the discovery of a magic orb. He has very much made himself a home in the Minecraft scape, but he also made himself an enemy in the odd pig-like witch Malgasa, voiced by Rachel House, who wants the orb for herself so she can transform the entirety of the cubic wonderland into a hellscape. You just got to go with it. With 5 voices on hand as screenwriters, it does make sense that there's a certain looseness to proceedings, with a Minecraft movie flitting between a variety of personalities throughout. It all culminates in a "we're all in this together" like battle between the humans and the Minecraft monsters, but in the lead-up we're treated to Jack Black lead musical numbers, a truly bizarre backstory for Malgasa that centers around an America's Got Talent-ish dance dream gone wrong, and a seeming fascination with the posterior of Mr. Momoa. On the mention of the hulking actor, a Minecraft movie, if nothing else, gifts us with his true comedic genius. Fast X let us in on his abilities, and there were even glimpses across his duties as Aquaman, but the full-tilt commitment he brings to the Garbage Man ignite every minute he's on screen here. Adorned with the actor's seeming signature pink, a mop of hair that shouldn't work, somehow he even pulls off bangs, and fingerless gloves that allow even his digits to become their own character, Momoa livens up a Minecraft movie so much so that the movie suffers when he isn't comically screaming or sprouting such wisdom as paper doesn't grow on trees, and that's saying something when he's playing opposite a Full Tilt Black. A Minecraft movie is ultimately a goofy, celebratory production that has no interest in taking the higher, more sophisticated road on its comedy journey. The family market will easily have their fill across all aspects, with those parents in attendance unaware of what exactly is taking place likely to find some enjoyment factor in the randomness of it all. There's even a whole subplot around Jennifer Coolidge's dippy high school principal and her seeming bad luck with men that offers up too many laughs for its own good. Jack Black and Jason Momoa are the comedic duo we didn't know we needed, and their one-two punch of camp theatrics and unwavering commitment to a series of shenanigans sends the orb back to the real world, where it is found by Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison, a down-on-his-luck former video game champ played by Momoa in full Danny McBride mode. With him is an awkward, curly-haired preteen with a slight speech impairment, Henry, Sebastian Hansen, his new-to-adulthood guardian/older sister Natalie, Emma Myers, and the fun real estate agent/traveling zookeeper Danielle Brooks. Everyone ends up in the land of the lost, where the sheep are square, and if you throw bricks, you can build bridges and even fly if you know what you are doing. The plot is absolutely secondary to the zingy dialogue, action beats, creative look of the film, and the good-natured shouting. Much like Barbie, this is a cart before the horse type of movie, driven initially by market forces, not creative impulses. Minecraft, more so than most games, really doesn't lend itself to a narrative story. Its whole purpose is that it is a free-form system of play. But it's also one of the last major intellectual properties not yet mined, for a feature film, so there's a kind of cynical inevitably to this. Knowing there are 5 credited screenwriters adds to the understandable skepticism, but just as Minecraft players can build the unexpected out of disparate elements, bringing in an unexpected director helped craft this thing the right way. Jared Hess, co-creator of Napoleon Dynamite and a string of other small oddball pictures, brings a fresh perspective to what could have been a lumbering IP Palooza movie. He's never worked in a budget range like this, and, quite frankly, a lot of his other films, Did You See Gentlemen Broncos or Don Verdian, are extremely annoying. But by some force of alchemy, his cockeyed look at things, a mix of deadpan delivery, garish colors, and exaggerated interactions is weirdly perfect for this adaptation. There's an anything-goes attitude here, but within the basic borders of a group of people zip off to Oz and need to get home framework. This loosey-goosey attitude, an open sandbox if you will, is a breath of fresh air after so many family films that seem preordained by lore. It may have been a financial success, but the most recent Sonic the Hedgehog picture is particularly lifeless. Minecraft might be the most played video game out there, but good luck trying to determine what it is with a simple search. As a non-player myself, I can attest to this. The message of the movie is, I suppose, that it is important to be creative and that the world needs dreamers. That's nice. But the real fun is watching Momoa do the tough guy who is actually a big lunkhead routine, and while this isn't anything too new, see several notches in the resumes of Dave Bautista or Dwayne Johnson or even the mighty Arnold Schwarzenegger himself, Momoa's comic timing is particularly sterling in a Minecraft movie. He's doing extremely good work here, seriously. Broad comedy is not easy. The rest of the cast is also quite good. Young Sebastian Hansen nails the Wes Anderson-esque hip-to-be-square vibe. Danielle Brooks is a fountain of sass, and while it took me a good long while to clock it, Emma Myers has a daffy energy that reminded me of Beth Howland from TV's Alice, which is a compliment. Yes, that's an extremely Gen X reference, but I just watched a Minecraft movie, please cut me some slack. The weak link, oddly, is Jack Black, whose high fructose delivery can get a little irritating after a while. His opening voiceover has some of the audible panic of someone asked to watch after someone else's kids, laying on the excitement really thick in the hopes they don't notice mommy and daddy have stepped away for a few minutes. Director Hess gives Black carte blanche to stomp around the frame, and unless you are a card-carrying member of his fan club, you might wish for a little more restraint. But the look of the picture is a lot of fun. None of the villains in this PG-rated picture are anything but cute, and that includes the zombie creatures that attack at night. As far as Minecraft in jokes, I'm sure there are many. My audience of kids got very excited, some even shouted "uh-oh," when a walking cactus tree appeared. Research tells me that this is a creeper. Maybe seeing it on a Sunday morning was the best idea. After all, Oppenheimer is a cerebral drama with Cillian Murphy as the scientist who invents the atom bomb. A Minecraft movie is a zany video game adaptation with Jack Black belting out a song about lava chicken. But the two films have a lot in common. The obvious thing is that they each made almost $1 billion at the global box office. A Minecraft movie is currently the highest grossing film of 2025 in the US, as well as the fourth biggest film in the world, and Oppenheimer was the third biggest film globally in 2023. But the other connection is that they both show how radically cinema-going has changed since the COVID-19 pandemic. Audiences interacted with the two films in comparable, culture-shifting ways, which is why a Minecraft movie is the most important cinema release of the year. Not that its success was a total surprise. In 2024, the 10th biggest film in the world was Sonic the Hedgehog 3, another video game adaptation. In 2023, the second biggest film in the world, one place above Oppenheimer, was the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Also in 2023, Five Nights at Freddy's was so lucrative that a sequel came out earlier this month, and next year we can look forward to Mortal Kombat 2, Street Fighter and Super Mario Bros. Galaxy. Meanwhile, two of the most acclaimed current television series are The Last of Us and Fallout. Now that superhero blockbusters aren't as all-conquering as they were a few years ago, video games are Hollywood's new favorite pieces of intellectual property. All the same, Minecraft wasn't the most promising candidate for big screen treatment. It's not that it isn't a cultural phenomenon, it's the best-selling video game ever made, and the brightly colored, right-angle heavy merchandise is everywhere. But the fact is that it's set in a world composed entirely of pixelated blocks representing different minerals, and the player's job is to break or mine these blocks in order to build things. Entrusting this curious game to Jared Hess, the director of such oddball comedies as Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre, didn't sound like the obvious way to sell more cinema tickets than the latest entries in the Mission Impossible and Jurassic World series. Then came the reviews. A Minecraft movie scored 48% on Rotten Tomatoes, the reviews round upside, a typical assessment being that it was a garish, headache-inducing, lumpen splodge of commercial propaganda, as Kevin Marr put it in his one-star review for The Times. Audiences didn't agree. The film overperformed on its opening weekend in April, with a BBC News report noting it entertained children and adults alike. When dads like a family film, that's a good thing, said Steve Buck, Chief Strategy Officer at Industry Analysts Intelligence. The unusual aspect, though, was that viewers weren't just chuckling at Black's antics in a blocky alternate universe called the Overworld. They were joining in. Primed by the trailers, and especially by the way Black declaimed every phrase with manic enthusiasm, the game's fans shouted out whenever they recognized a line or a meme, they threw popcorn in the air, and they generally behaved as if they were at a midnight screening of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. The key rabble-rousing moment, inspired by a rarely seen character from the game, was when a green-skinned zombie child jumped on the back of a hen, that actually looked more like a duck, and Black warned, "Chicken jockey." Minecraft lovers went wild. Some Utah cinemagoers even brought their own live chicken to a screening. And at some US showings, it's reported that the police were called. Unsurprisingly, the rowdiness didn't go down well with everyone. A column in The Guardian was headlined, "There's a place for audience participation, but chicken jockey chaos goes too far." The article concluded with a stern admonition, maybe it is time for the grown-ups to lay down the law. But, judging by the ticket sales, plenty of grown-ups relished the chicken jockey chaos. A British comedian, Sam Avery, told the BBC that seeing a Minecraft movie with his sons was honestly the most joyous cinema-going experience I've ever had. The film's director may have been biased, but he was in favor of the chaos, too. It's been way too fun, Hess said in Entertainment Weekly. People are sending me these really hilarious speeches that a lot of teenagers are giving right before the movie. It's great, especially when people are climbing on their friends' shoulders and standing up and cheering for those moments. But, man, I'm just glad people are making memories with their friends and families. Hess's comment about people sending him speeches indicates a crucial factor: people weren't just going to a Minecraft movie to shout, clap and exercise their poultry, but to film themselves doing all of the above so that they could post the videos on TikTok and other social media sites. It's doubly galling for those of us who like to watch our films in silence. The only thing worse than hearing other people talking in the cinema is seeing other people using their phones, and Minecraft mania is reliant on both. But these viral videos gave the film a huge amount of free publicity. The Rocky Horror Picture Show took years to build a cult following. In 2025, thanks to smartphones and social media, a Minecraft movie achieved that status within a weekend. Nor is it unique. In 2022, there was the gentle Minions trend, when teenage boys filmed themselves attending Minions, the rise of Gru while dressed in smart suits and carrying bananas. And at the same time as these accidental, unpredictable crazes were popping up, studios pushed their own officially sanctioned ways to get viewers actively involved in their films. Wicked had sing-along screenings, with introductions by its stars, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, and the lyrics appearing as subtitles. "The movie is great as is," wrote Janelle Riley in Variety, "but if you want an elevated experience, there's nothing like getting your geek on with a theater of like-minded fans." In May, Warner Bros. Gave in to the inevitable and announced special audience participation screenings of a Minecraft movie. This film, directed by Jared Hess, screenplay by Chris Bowman, story by Allison Schroeder, based on Minecraft, produced by Roy Lee, starring Jason Momoa, cinematography Enrique Chediak, edited by James Thomas, music by Mark Mothersbaugh. Production companies Warner Bros. Pictures. Distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures. Release dates March 30, 2025. Running time 101 minutes. Countries United States. Language English. Budget $150 million. Box office $961.2 million.